Chapter 371. Sealing Gossip Silence. Xianxia accepting a disciple was a huge matter that could shake the world to its core. Regardless of whether one was a master teacher or not, as long as one was a cultivator, one would surely be so excited to even forget their own names upon receiving such an honor. Yet, this fellow rejected it. On top of that, so decisively and affirmatively. Who can tell me what had happened? The appearance of a celestial master teacher was already shocking enough, but to reject the offer to become Xianxia's student, this was sufficient to send anyone into a frenzy. All of the teachers in the teacher acknowledgement hall fell to silence as though something had glued their mouths together. They stared at one another silently despite the huge storm raging in their minds. This expert, if you don't want to become Xianxia's student, I would gladly take your place. You should have at least left the slot to me. Why must you reject the offer? Pavilion Master Jiang, what's going on? After a long period of time, a master teacher finally turned to Pavilion Master Jiang and asked. At the same time, the gazes of the others also centered on him. I don't know as well. At this moment, Pavilion Master Jiang had broken down internally as well. He only rushed here because he felt an anomaly in the teacher acknowledgement hall. Who would have known that he would witness such an earth-shattering matter? To reject Xianxia. Needless to mention this happening in the Qianwu royal city. Even if this matter had occurred in the Myriad Kingdom Alliance, a huge bunch of people would die of shock. Even 9-star master teachers were not capable of such a feat. You don't know too. The master teacher hesitated for a moment before continuing on. In this entire city, there are only 2 people worthy of becoming a celestial master teacher. Zhong Xian and Mo Hongyi. All you have to do is to tell us where the duo is and whether they are still in the capital. The alarm indicating the conferment of a celestial master teacher would only affect the nearest master teacher pavilion. Since the alarm had sounded off at their teacher acknowledgement hall, it meant that a master teacher in Qianwu Royal City must have achieved a breakthrough. Naturally, the crowd's thoughts would be directed to the duo. They. Pavilion Master Jiang hesitated for a moment. Let's just tell them the truth. Becoming a celestial master teacher meant that he is already a master teacher transcending beyond the rank system. The examination doesn't mean much to him anymore. Elder Zhu said. UN. Pavilion Master Jiang nodded in agreement. They are still in the capital. However, they are currently in disguise for the last test of the 2-star master teacher examination. In disguise. Everyone was taken aback. The House of Trust test in the 2-star master teacher examination was carried out in an extremely quiet and secretive fashion such that many of the master teachers on the spot didn't know of it. In fact, it was the first time Jiang Chen was hearing of this as well. It's like this. Pavilion Master Jiang explained the entire situation regarding the final test in the 2-star master teacher examination. You mean to say that Guild Master Liu Cheng, who rocked the entire city at its core, is actually Xianxia? As the explanation sank in, everyone was shocked once more. They felt dizzy-headed. In the past few days, the 2 most talked about figures were the Master Teacher Pavilion's Zhong Xian and the Physician Guild's Guild Master Liu Cheng. Everyone knew that these 2 were absolute geniuses, and they felt deep respect and envy for them. How could they have possibly imagined that the 2 of them were actually the same person? It's no wonder. Jiang Chen froze on the spot. He had been suspecting the matter before, but even so, in the depths of his mind, he didn't dare to think of it to be true. However, after hearing his father's confirmation, he immediately came to a realization. It was no wonder why the other party was so skilled in pill forging, even going to the extent of guiding a 2-star apothecary to successfully forge a grade 4 pill. Even though Jiang Chen knew that Zhong Xian was much more talented than him, he still couldn't help but compare himself to the other party. He had always thought that as long as he followed strictly to the conventional route and continued working hard, he would catch up with the other party one day. But at this moment, he realized that the gap was too huge. There's completely no basis of comparison for the 2 of them. Needless to say, catching up with the other party, he couldn't even see the other party's back. The other party was skilled in pill forging, way of medicine, painting, and beast taming. The other party had reached such astounding proficiency in so many occupations. How could he match up? Since the 2 of them are in the capital, the celestial master teacher must be one of them. As long as we find them and confirm the matter with them, we'll know who it is." Suppressing his astonishment, a master teacher said, "Indeed. Regardless of the matter, given that a celestial master teacher had appeared, and that he had nearly become a student of the sage, we have to find out who he is." Another master teacher spoke up. Within the radius of possibilities, there were only 2 plausible candidates, so it wasn't hard to find out who it was. No matter what, the guild couldn't possibly stay ignorant when such a formidable figure had appeared in the land of their jurisdiction. "Everyone, don't panic. I'll send an apprentice to take a look now." Pavilion Master Jiang turned around and left. Not too long later, he returned. Liu Cheng and Sun Cheng were extremely famous teachers in Qianwu Academy, so it wasn't too hard to get news on them. "How is it?" Elder Zhu asked in agitation. Mo Hongyi seemed to be ill. He is currently in a coma. On the other hand, Xianxia is currently in seclusion, and is refusing all guests at the moment. Pavilion Master Jiang said. "There's no doubt about it then, it must be Xianxia." The group nodded in agreement. Since the other party was in a coma, it was impossible for him to be the celestial master teacher or to reject Kongxia. In that case, only one possibility remained. The only one who could create such a huge ruckus had to be the one who had shown them countless miracles right from his arrival, Zhongxian. Since we had confirmed Zhongxia's identity, should we report this matter to the headquarters? A master teacher among the group asked. "We can't." Pavilion Master Jiang shook his head. "If it's just him being conferred the title of a celestial master teacher, there's no problem reporting it to the headquarters. However, this Zhongxia had just rejected Kongxia. If the headquarters were to hear of it, they might burst into a rage." The crowd was dumbstruck. Indeed. Who is Kongxia? The #1 person in history, the teacher acknowledged by the heavens and earth. It would be a huge pandemonium if people were to find out that he was rejected. On top of that, it wasn't an honorable affair for Kongxia to be rejected. If they were to spread the news, they might incur Kongxia's rage. It would be hard to appease his anger even with their deaths. This matter is already way beyond our strength. The best choice we have at hand is to keep this matter to ourselves. After a short moment, Pavilion Master Jiang instructed. Yes. The group was also clear on the severity of this matter. Thus, they nodded in assent without any hesitation. Regardless of whether it was the conferment of a celestial master teacher or Kongxia getting rejected, they were matters surpassing their understanding. Facing such matters, it was wiser for them to keep mum, to stay silent, ignorant, and uninvolved. Otherwise, they might just get killed someday because of it. Since that's the case, let's make an oath before Kongxia's statue then. Pavilion Master Jiang spoke up once more. Yes. Soon, the oath was made, and everyone felt a peculiar energy seeping into their mind, sealing away what they've just learned. If they were to speak of the matter, they would be severely punished. Oblivious to the fact that the master teacher Pavilion had already known everything, Zhongxian was still harboring the thoughts of keeping this matter to himself to maintain a low profile. He pushed open the door of the mini tutoring room and walked out. Even though becoming a celestial master teacher had raised his soul depth by a hulking 1.0 and aided him in forging the Eye of Insight, it didn't boost his cultivation at all. He was still at Xianxia Realm Pinnacle, and his strength was at 5,000 ding. Teacher! Upon walking out, a lady immediately kneeled before him. Facing her teacher, her eyes were filled with reverence. She was Mu Xueqing. At this moment, she seemed to have just undergone an overwhelming change as a powerful aura reminiscent of a mighty dragon embraced her. Triggering all of the medicinal energy accumulated within her body had allowed her to immediately break through the Pishua realm bottleneck to reach Tongxian realm primary stage. In fact, from the aura, one could feel that she wasn't too far from reaching Tongxian realm intermediate stage. She couldn't have imagined that it was possible for her to grow so much stronger overnight. Not bad. Seeing her improvement, Zhongxian nodded in satisfaction. She had been consuming pills from young, and the medicinal energy that had accumulated in her body had reached an astounding level. It wasn't completely unexpected for her to grow so rapidly. You have just achieved a breakthrough. remember to reinforce your cultivation properly. I'll bring you somewhere tomorrow." Knowing that the other party's trust level in him must have exceeded 40, and he could finally end the master-teacher examination, Xianxia instructed. "Yes." Mu Xueqing nodded before retreating to a corner. Emerald Pavilion was Qianwu Kingdom's most famous expenditure abyss. The single day of expenditure here was sufficient to leave a small clan of a Tier 2 kingdom bankrupt. Even so, carriages still arrived one after another at its doorstep. It was the dream of countless people to become a frequent member here. This was because this was where, of the surrounding 13 kingdoms, the best alcohol was, the best beauties were, the best service was, the most conducive atmosphere for pleasure-making. Regardless of male or female, any cultivators who had been here once would wish to come a second time. The thought would consume their mind, filling them with remembrance over their previous visit. Even before stepping in, one could already feel a dense concentration of spiritual energy 2 times of that of the outside world gushing straight towards one. Cultivating here would definitely be more than 2 folds faster than the outside world. Early this morning, a carriage stopped right at the entrance. The coach hurriedly got down and laid a stepping stone for the esteemed person seated in the carriage. "Young master, we're here." UN. The curtain was parted, and a young man walked out. The young man was dressed extravagantly, adding an air of nobility to him. However, a dark shadow would flit past in his eyes from time to time. Bruises could be seen on some exposed skin which indicated an incomplete recovery of recent injuries. "Young master, are we really going to look for Lin Langgongzi? I heard that his services are expensive." The coach asked hesitantly. "Who else can I look for if not him?" With a steeled face, the young man said, "Even my clan has abandoned me. They are determined to send me over to Zhongxian to appease his rage. Right now, only the Lin clan can protect me. As long as Lin Langgongzi speaks up for me, so what if he passes his 2-star master-teacher examination? Would he dare to offend the Formation Guild, as well as Shenyuan Kingdom?" If Zhongxian was here, he would have definitely recognized the person to be none other than the painter who was stripped buck naked by his own subordinates back then, Jimo Gongzi. After realizing that the person he offended was the genius Zhongxian, no one in the Ji clan had dared to shield him anymore. Even his own father, the clan head, had wanted to tie him up and deliver him personally to ask for the other party's forgiveness. Knowing that he would be in for another round of suffering once he was sent over, Jimo sneaked out to seek for protection. Other than the Lin clan, there was no one else in Qianwu Kingdom who could protect him, not even the royal family. Not only was the Lin clan's clan head the guild master of the Formation Guild, his daughter was the princess consort of the Shenyuan Kingdom's crown prince. Even Pavilion Master Xianxia would have to spare the Lin clan some face, needless to say, Zhongxian, who had just taken the 2-star master-teacher examination. As for the Lin Lang person he spoke of, he was known as the #1 Gongzi of Qianwu Kingdom. He was the son of the Lin clan's clan head, the younger brother of Shenyuan Kingdom's princess consort. It was only because of Ji Mo's slightly superior talent and his identity as the son of the clan head of one of the 3 great clans of the capital that he was able to get acquainted with the other party. As for this Emerald Pavilion, it was an establishment of Lin Lang's. Chapter 372, Lin Lang. The Lin clan is the #1 clan of Qianwu Kingdom, and Lin Lang is the sole son doted on by clan head Lin, needless to say, the younger brother of Shenyuan Kingdom's princess consort. Even Emperor Mo Qianxue would have to defer to him. As long as he agrees to it, young master has nothing to worry about. The coach hesitated for a moment before nodding vigorously. There was no better solution for the current situation. Once this Zhongxian passes the 2-star master-teacher examination, his standing and identity would rise up accordingly. If he were to pursue the matter that day, the Ji clan, despite being one of the 3 great clans, would not dare to oppose him. 2-star master-teachers, especially this kind of exceptional genius, possessed immense prestige and strength. On top of that, he was the senior of Pavilion Master Jiang with an even more formidable teacher behind him. Ji Mo didn't dare to exact vengeance. All he wanted was to find an influential intermediary to resolve the issue. And this Lin clan was the best bet he had. UN, let's enter. Waving his hands, Jimo Gongzi started walking toward the Emerald Pavilion with widened steps. Judging from how he was able to maneuver around the place easily, He must have visited here often. Soon, he arrived at a vast room. After exchanging some words with the guards at the door, he walked in. A sight of magnificence unfolded before him as soon as he stepped into the room. All kinds of gemstones were embedded into the vast lounge, and mats made from the hide of beasts filled the area. It was so extravagantly decorated that even the royal palace seemed to pale in comparison in terms of grandness. Furthermore, under the influence of a formation in the room, not only was the completely underground lounge not stuffy, it even felt like an otherworldly paradise. At the center of the room, a young man lay on a large beast hide mat, and beauties stood by his sides. Before him was an arrangement of all kinds of delicacies, and the smell of marvelous wine tickled one's nose. Sitting opposite to that person was another young man dressed extravagantly. He was holding onto a cup, proposing a toast with the other party. "Brother Ji-mo, it has been long since we last met." Upon seeing Ji-mo enter, the young man who was lying in the embrace of a beauty beckoned him over. "Lin Lang Gongzi." Ji-mo clasped his fist. "Come, allow me to introduce you. This is Xianxia Kingdom's Prince Fei Xian." Lin Lang Gongzi pointed to the young man opposite of him and introduced the two to one another. "Prince Fei Xian, this is Ji-mo Gongzi from Qianwu Royal City's Ji clan." "So it's Ji Gongzi. To be able to become an official painter at such a young age, I have heard of your great name even from Xianxia Kingdom." Prince Fei Xian smiled. He was the prince who proposed to Mo Yu when Zhong Xian visited the royal palace. Given that his proposal failed, and guessing that Guild Master Liu would cure the guardian beast, he had turned his attention to the Lin clan. With the backing of the Formation Guild and the princess consort of Xianyuan Kingdom, Lin clan was a massive power among Tier 1 kingdoms. Even a prince like him didn't dare to act arrogantly before the Lin clan. Before arriving at Qianwu Royal City, Prince Fei Xian had already investigated the various powers in the capital. As such, he was able to trace his background upon hearing Ji-mo Gongzi's name. After getting to know one another, Ji-mo sat down, traded some pleasantries with the duo before diving straight into the topic. "Lin Gongzi, the reason why I am here is that I have something to request of you." "Oh." Lin Lang glanced at Ji-mo curiously. "Actually, I unintentionally offended Master Teacher Zhong Xian a while ago, and I'm afraid that he might come and exact vengeance once he passes his 2-star Master Teacher examination. Thus, I would like to ask you to act as an intermediary to settle this issue." Ji-mo Gongzi said. "Zhong Xian? You mean that famous genius?" Lin Lang poured himself a cup of wine nonchalantly. "That's him." Ji-mo Gongzi hurriedly nodded his head. Then, with a flick of his wrist, a scroll appeared in his hands. "I understand that it'll be hard to resolve this matter. I recall that Lin Gongzi fancies painting, so I prepared the withered pine painting from Elder Jin Mantang for you. I hope that you can accept this gift of mine." "Withered pine painting?" "That's the last painting of Elder Jin Mantang left in this world. Even among 5th-level paintings, it is considered as a top-notch work. This painting is extremely valuable, and it is only due to the kindness the Ji clan showed the old master back then that he gifted this painting as a way of thanks. To be willing to give this to me. Not bad, not bad." Grabbing over the painting, Lin Lang opened it, took a look, and nodded in satisfaction. "All right, I promise to help you on your matter." "Thank you, Lin Gongzi." Ji-mo Gongzi's face flushed in agitation. "It isn't a huge matter anyway. 2-star master teachers may be impressive, but they mean nothing to our Lin clan. He's just a lucky fellow who managed to find a good teacher." Lin Lang Gongzi waved his hands casually and said, "When he's done with his examination, I'll send a letter to invite him over so that the two of you can meet one another and resolve whatever conflict you have." "Yes." Ji-mo Gongzi nodded vehemently. If it was anyone else who said those words, he would have definitely scoffed. However, this Lin Gongzi did indeed possess the rights to speak such words. Even though the other party was only 3 years older than him, he was already a 2-star formation master. On top of that, just 2 months ago, he had managed to achieve a breakthrough, reaching Xianxia realm. To break through the Tongxian realm pinnacle to Xianxia realm, he had only used less than half a year. Even though part of the reason was that of the hulking resources that Xianyuan Kingdom devoted to the Lin clan, his talents still played an important part. Above all, he had the Lin clan as his backing. Conferred Kingdom Shenyuan Kingdom had 3-star master teachers in their master teacher pavilion. Even if Zhongxian could oppose the Lin clan, it was impossible for him to oppose Shenyuan Kingdom. No matter how talented and prestigious Zhongxian was, he was nothing before Lin Lang. Lin Gongzi, it's best for you not to get careless. I've heard of Zhongxia before as well, and he seems to be a person of great means. His talent surpasses that of even your kingdom's #1 genius, Mo Hongyi. Prince Fei Xian interrupted. Having stayed in Qianwu Royal City for a few days now, he was well abreast of the current affairs here. Zhongxian's feat of breaking the countless records set by Mo Hongyi was already a well-known fact throughout the entire city. So what if he is a remarkable genius? His cultivation is only at Xianxia realm primary stage. If he wishes to remain in Qianwu Royal City, he better keep himself in check. Lin Lang sneered in disdain. So what if that Zhongxian is a genius? Without sufficient strength, all of these were just illusory. After all, strength was what counted in this world. This was something that becomes increasingly apparent in the higher-ranked kingdoms. The stronger one is, the higher one's standing becomes. Without sufficient strength, even if one had great achievements in their occupation, they would still be looked down by others. That's true. Prince Fei Xian nodded in agreement. Then, he continued, right, there's another genius in the city recently. Has Lin Gongzi heard of Liu Cheng? According to the rumors, he is a teacher in Qianwu Academy. You mean Guild Master Liu, who solved 19 questions on the Wall of Dilemma in the Physician Guild? Lin Lang waved grandly and replied, of course I've heard of him, he's indeed a talented person. However, his cultivation is too weak, being only at Tongxian realm primary stage. He's a figure that can be squeezed to death at a whim. He's nothing at all. All right, let's not talk about these unpleasant matters in my Emerald Pavilion, we should have fun instead. Men, the food has already turned cold, change them. Chuckling lightly, Lin Lang commanded. Yes. Upon hearing his orders, a few servants hurriedly rushed forward and replaced those cold dishes with piping hot ones. All of them were wearing a hat, but one servant's hat was exceptionally low, making it difficult to make out his appearance. That servant glanced at Lin Lang, and dense hatred rippled in his eyes. It was Zhongxian's missing student, Lu Chong. Chapter 373. Sorrowful Lin Lang. It was no wonder why Lu Chong refused to say anything at all before Zhongxian. No one could have thought that his enemy was the Lin clan's young master, Lin Lang. The Lin clan stood at the very top of the 3 great clans, and it wielded tremendous power. Even though Mo Qianxia knew that it was likely to be them who poisoned the guardian beast, he still suppressed the news. From this, it was clear how much he feared their influence. Lu Chong was alone and weak, and if he were to reveal the name of his enemy, it wouldn't take long for those hoping to please the Lin clan to deliver him to their doorsteps. As such, he would rather act as a mute than to speak. The hatred only appeared for an instant. Before long, Lu Chong calmed down. To be able to stop himself from talking for 2 years and endure the excruciating pain from the tempering of the poison for the poison body said a lot about his mental fortitude. His chance was right before him, and he naturally wouldn't act rashly at this moment. The Emerald Pavilion might seem calm on the surface, but he knew that there were many experts hidden within. If Lu Chong wanted to make a move, he had to succeed in a single try. Otherwise, he wouldn't get another opportunity. After placing the dishes on the table, Lu Chong slowly surveyed the surroundings before backing out of the room. There were many experts in the room, making it an unfavorable location to make a move. Thus, Lu Chong decided to wait patiently for his chance. After standing outside the room for a long time, Jia, Lin Lang walked out casually. The wine of the Emerald Pavilion was specially concocted by masters in the industry. Even if a Xianxia realm expert were to consume it, he would definitely fall over, drunk. At this moment, Lin Lang seemed to be extremely intoxicated. Featuring reddened cheeks, he walked towards the closest toilet in a wobbly fashion. This is my chance. Knowing that this was probably the best chance he would get, Lu Chong didn't hesitate. He slowly followed behind Lin Lang and entered the toilet as well. Who is it? Seeing another party walking into the toilet, Lin Lang, who was relieving himself, frowned. Who? Knowing that such an ideal chance wouldn't come twice, Lu Chong didn't bother to waste his time with words. He immediately charged forward and struck the other party with his palm. However, before the palm could hit Lin Lang, a huge wind had already been whipped up in the toilet. The violent shock wave from his strike came crashing straight towards Lin Lang. Xianxia. Xianxia Realm Intermediate Stage. Narrowing his eyes, Lin Lang immediately woke up from his drunken stupor. Not only was the person who assaulted him a Xianxia Realm expert, he even reached Xianxia Realm Intermediate Stage. Experts of these level were all famous and respectable figures in Qianwu Royal City. Little did he expect that one of them would disguise as a servant to assassinate him. Lu Chong might have suffered pain worse than death itself by rubbing all of the poison on his acupoints. It had brought him gigantic benefits as well. Not only did he manage to break through Xianxia Realm, his strength had even reached the level comparable to a Xianxia Realm Intermediate Stage expert. "You're courting death." Bellowing coldly, Lin Lang immediately raised his palms to receive the other party's assault. Pang! Pang! The two palms struck one another, and both sides retreated a single step from the collision. Lu Chong's face darkened. 2 years ago, when the other party slaughtered his entire clan, he was only a Tongxian Realm primary stage. Lu Chong thought that even if the other party were to improve swiftly, he would only be at Tongxian Realm pinnacle at best. Yet, to think that Lin Lang was at Xianxia Realm Intermediate Stage as well. However, there was no path of retreat now. If Lu Chong fails to kill the other party today, he would be killed instead. Narrowing his eyes, Lu Chong drove his poisoned body to the limits of its ability and charged forward, sending consecutive swift and powerful palms straight at Lin Lang. Damn it! Even though Lin Lang had reached Xianxia Realm Intermediate Stage, it was mostly due to the forceful nourishment from the consumption of various pills. His cultivation hadn't been perfectly reinforced yet, causing him to be unable to bring out the full strength of a Xianxia Realm Intermediate Stage cultivator. Under such conditions, how could he withstand Lu Chong's tenacious attacks? He could only retreat continuously. Putong. Retreating backward, Lin Lang's legs suddenly caved in and he fell down. The next moment, an overpowering stench immediately rushed up his nose, causing him to feel faint-headed in an instant. Lowering his head to take a look, he realized that he had been forced to a fecal drain under the relentless attack of the other party. Damn you! Lin Lang had always abhorred dirtiness. Falling into the fecal pit had left his mind in a state of frenzy. Furious, a vicious streak was triggered within him, and with a furious roar, he charged at the other party without a second thought. However, before he could reach the other party, Lu Chong had already sent a kick into his face, planting his face right into the fecal drain. To make things worse, since Lin Lang was in the midst of shouting, feces were stuffed right into his opened mouth. "I will kill you." Lin Lang was on the brink of going insane. How could the #1 Gongzi of Qianwu Royal City, a person of such prestigious standing that even Mo Qianxia had to defer to, suffer such a setback from an anonymous opponent? Rage bubbled inside his chest. Putong. Before he could finish his words, his head was pushed right back into the fecal pit yet again, causing the brown liquid to smudge over his entire face and mouth. Lin Lang Gongzi, the lady you presented me with is indeed not bad. Her figure and that sensation. Just as Lin Lang was being suffocated in the brown liquid, an intoxicated voice sounded, and Mo Gongzi walked in. Pang! Possessing only the strength of a Pishua realm, how could he be a match for Lu Chong? Before he could finish his sentence, the sight before him blurred, and he fell into the fecal drain as well. The heck? Who dares to hit me? Do you know who I am? Mo Gongzi howled furiously. This was Emerald Pavilion, the grandest place in Qianwu Royal City, an establishment of the Lin clan's young master, Lin Lang. Who would be so audacious as to lay a hand on him here? Was that person so tired of living as to offend the Lin clan? Putting aside the Lin clan, Mo was the son of the Ji clan's clan head. Although his standing couldn't hold a candle to Xianxia, he wasn't someone anyone could simply offend. Infuriated, he hurled insults furiously. However, halfway through his words, he saw a person blowing bubbles right beside him as a pungent stench attacked his nostrils. That person's face was absurdly pale and bruises filled his body. It seemed as though he was on the verge of breathing his last. Who else could it be other than Lin Lang? You actually dare to lay your hands on young Master Lin? Jimo Gongzi was on the verge of going insane. He had just threatened the other party with his own standing when he saw Lin Lang getting pummeled as well. The Lin clan only had this male offspring. Laying one's hands on him was equivalent to waging a war against the entire Lin clan. This was an act of suicide. Hurriedly lifting his head, he saw a young man stepping on Lin Lang's body, leaving the latter incapable of retaliation at all. It seemed like Jimo had happened to walk in at a bad timing. No. If Lin Lang were to be killed, I'll be doomed as well. Jimo understood how severe this matter was. He had come here to look for Lin Lang, and the other party had ended up being killed in the toilet. Putting aside whether this mysterious assassin would be willing to let him go, even if he were to survive this ordeal, it would be difficult for him to withstand the wrath of the Lin clan. In the worst-case scenario, the entire Ji clan might even be annihilated. The heck, why do I have to meet with this kind of misfortune? Even if you want to kill Lin Lang, can't you do it when I'm not around? Why did I have to happen to come to the toilet at this moment? If he were to die now, it'll be as though I have stained my pants with mud. I'll be in deep shit even if it isn't shit. More importantly, it's one thing to kill the other party, but what did you mean by kicking the other party into the fecal drain? Lin Lang Gongzi had always paid careful attention to his image and had always assumed a gentlemanly facade before others that attracted many female fans. Yet, at this moment, a fetid odor was lingering around him while his white shirt had been stained yellow. To make matters worse, the overwhelming scent was causing the food that he just ate to threaten to rise up his throat. Jimo clenched his jaws and whipped up his determination. Let go of young Master Lin. Knowing that he couldn't allow Lin Lang to die now, Jimo Gongzi charged straight at the mysterious young man. Pang! Before he could finish his words, a leg met up with his face, causing him to be smashed into the walls of the toilet. Blood trickled down his mouth and nose. Even though he failed to stop the other party, he managed to vie for sufficient time for Lin Lang to wake up. Injured and humiliated, Lin Lang was on the verge of erupting. I had not intended to use this item at all. However, since it has come down to this, I want you dead. Roaring furiously, Jimo whipped his wrist, and a palm-sized circular plate appeared in his palm. Formation plate. Upon seeing the object the other party took out frenziedly, Lu Chong's eyes narrowed. He had heard of this item from his older sister before. It was called a formation plate. It was a method of compressing a formation into a small special jade plate. By triggering the jade plate, the formation inscribed on it would be activated, trapping or even killing one's enemies. In addition, one could use trigger a formation plate even if one wasn't a formation master. However, formation plates were extremely valuable, and each of them was worth a huge fortune. There was less than a handful of it even in Qianwu Kingdom. As a 2-star formation master, the son of the formation master guildmaster, and the younger brother of Shenyuan Kingdom's princess consort, it wasn't surprising for Lin Lang to possess this kind of survival meme on him. This isn't good. Lu Chong knew that a formation would immediately cover the surroundings as soon as it is triggered. Even though the might of a formation plate was inferior to that of a normal formation, it was still more than sufficient to trap a person who knew nothing about formations at all like Lu Chong. The moment Lu Chong was trapped, not only would he be unable to kill Lin Lang, his life might even be in danger. For the sake of exacting vengeance for his clan, he mustn't die. Retreat. Without any hesitation, Lu Chong dashed out. In just half a breath, he was already at the entrance of the Emerald Pavilion. Dressed in the attire of a servant, everyone thought that he was a servant whom young Master Lin Lang had entrusted an urgent matter to. As such, he was able to make the escape quickly without much obstruction. Wang! As soon as he left the Emerald Pavilion, he felt an intense burst of spiritual energy behind him, and a layer of mist seemed to envelop the infrastructure. The formation plate had already been triggered. I should hurry up and leave. Knowing that it wouldn't take long before the Lin clan sent men after him, Lu Chong didn't dare to stop here. In the blink of an eye, he blended into the crowd and disappeared from the watchful eyes of others. Having escaped from the Lin clan's pursuit once, he had learned how to prevent anyone from tracking him down, and he knew how he should act so as to avoid detection. Why was a formation triggered? Did something happen? This is the formation plate that young master brings along with him everywhere. Damn it, young master is in trouble. As soon as Lu Chong left, an uproar broke out in the Emerald Pavilion. The personal bodyguards of the young master immediately recognized that the abnormality originated from the formation plate that their young master always carried around. To go to the extent of even triggering his final mean for survival, he must be facing grievous danger. Hurry up and inform the old master. The formation spanned over the entire Emerald Pavilion, and most of the guards here lacked knowledge about formations. Thus, they didn't dare to move around recklessly. Even so, they had a special communication device. It didn't take long for the news to reach clan head Lin Ruotian. What happened? Why would Lang trigger the formation plate? With eyes as cold as ice, Lin Ruotian inquired with a steeled face. You better hope that Lang is all right. If something goes wrong, all of you will be buried along with him. Glancing at the bodyguards coldly, Lin Ruotian walked into the Emerald Pavilion. Even though the still active formation plate made it difficult for one to discern direction, as a 3-star formation master, Lin Ruotian was able to maneuver around it with ease. Walking straight towards the core of the formation, it didn't take long before he reached the toilet. Why would it be here? Lin Ruotian was perplexed. Hurry up and find the young master. The few guards hurriedly dived in upon hearing their master's instructions. A moment later, a swollen-faced fellow who was emanating a putrid stench was brought before Lin Ruotian. As the state of the other party registered in his eyes, Lin Ruotian was taken aback. He almost couldn't recognize his own son. Isn't the place Lin Lang opened supposed to be a place to eat and drink? Why did he fall inside the fecal drain? Who was it? Go find the culprit. Even if you have to turn Qianwu Royal City upside down, you better bring the culprit to me. Soon, after understanding the situation, a furious bellow pierced through the air, shaking even the clouds. Chapter 374, Qianwu Kingdom's Book Collection Vault Qianwu Academy, Zhongxian's classroom. After instructing Mu Xueqing on several matters, he commenced his lesson. The Eye of Insight had significantly augmented his ability to impart relevant knowledge to others. In the past, he had to tap into the abilities of the Library of Heaven's Path to determine the flaws of Meng Dao and the others so as to guide and correct their cultivation methods. But now, all he needed to do was to expend a sliver of his soul depth to understand the problems the other party met during cultivation and offer the most accurate solution for it. This is the strength of a master teacher. Zhongxian's eyes glowed. Initially, Zhongxian had thought that master teachers were more of a title than anything else. Even though he had become a teacher, he didn't have a clear concept of what it was. After coming to an epiphany, his understanding of the occupation had reached higher heights. Every single action and gesture of his seemed to carry the disposition befitting of a teacher, and the slight sense of disharmony from before disappeared without a trace. With the Eye of Insight, even without the Library of Heaven's Path, he could easily peer into the essence of anything. He no longer needed to knock a person out or have him display a battle technique for everything. Even though the information he could obtain through the Eye of Insight wasn't as in-depth and detailed as that from the Library of Heaven's Path, and he still couldn't peer into the information of those possessing a cultivation higher than his, it was already a good start. As he grew stronger and his knowledge broadened, his Eye of Insight would continue to grow more and more formidable. Compared to the past when he had to intentionally feign the role of a master teacher, his actions now seemed to carry the natural grace of a master teacher, fitting him perfectly into the ideal concept of a master teacher. Very soon, he finished his lesson, but his students seemed to be drunk on his words. They felt their cultivation leaping, and it seemed as though they would achieve a breakthrough at any moment. In the past, when they attended lessons, they had to force themselves to learn. As time went by, some of them even began to detest attending lessons. However, after Liu Laoshe became their teacher, they began to look forward to classes instead. Every single lesson made them feel as though they were drinking a barrel of divine wine, sending a surge of fresh air to all of them. Unknowingly, their trust toward him slowly but steadily deepened. Teacher, Princess Mo Yu wishes to meet with you. As soon as the lesson ended, Meng Dao immediately walked forward. UN. Nodding his head, Zhongxian walked out. Upon seeing Zhongxian, Mo Yu smiled gently, and for a moment, it seemed as though a field of flowers had bloomed. Liu Laosha, didn't you say that you wished to browse through the book collection vault of the kingdom? My father has asked me to invite you over. Back then, when Xianxia was treating the guardian beast, he brought up a request to browse through the kingdom's book collection vault. However, the duel between the two of his students occurred and he ended up missing the opportunity. Since there was nothing on at the moment, Mo Yu decided to come over to extend her invitation. This was a show of goodwill from the royal family, as well as Mo Yu's way of apologizing to him for hiding the matter regarding Zhao Yue and Mu Xueqing's duel. Yes. Zhong Xian agreed to it. Lu Chong had disappeared to exact his vengeance while Zhao Yue was in the midst of awakening her unique constitution. He was only meeting Mo Hongyi tomorrow to head to the Master Teacher Pavilion together to end the Master Teacher examinations, so he had nothing to do at the moment. Thus, he decided to make good use of this time to broaden his knowledge through the books of the kingdom's book collection vault. With Mo Yu leading the way, the duo soon arrived at the book collection vault. This is our kingdom's book collection vault. In it is the huge collection Qianwu Kingdom had gathered over the course of 1,000 years. There are no books that you are seeking that you will not find inside. Mo Yu introduced. UN. Zhong Xian nodded his head. Qianwu Kingdom had more than 1,000 years behind it, and its collection reflected its long heritage. To Zhong Xian, the genre didn't matter, what mattered was quantity. In terms of books, Zhong Xian was probably the least picky reader in the world. If anyone else were to know his thoughts, they would definitely spurt blood on the spot. No matter how capable a master teacher is, even if he possesses photographic memory, browsing through 10,000 books is the maximum one could do in a day. Not to mention, a human's vitality is limited. One would have no choice but to read selectively. On top of that, different books were written from different people, and as such, they contained different concepts and content. Often were the explanations in different books contradictory, making it extremely difficult for one to determine truth from false. If one were to absorb the thoughts of many different people without bias, it would just make one confused and lost. Thus, reading more books wasn't necessarily beneficial. Rather, one had to pick their books properly to pile up on their knowledge. Only this way would one's understanding of a topic deepen. Flipping through books randomly could cause one's mind to fall into chaos, and their cultivation might even go berserk due to this. But Zhong Xian was an exception. All books recorded in the Library of Heaven's Path would have their errors and flaws pointed out clearly. What that would have perplexed others meant nothing to him at all. Walking into the book collection vault, Zhong Xian took a brief glance and saw countless towering bookshelves erected all over the room. The number of books in here seemed to exceed 10 million. What kind of books are you interested in? I'll bring you there. Smiling, Mo Yu asked politely. The reason why she was considered a genius was because of the humongous quantity of books that she had browsed through. Ever since learning how to read when she was 6, she would spend at least 2 hours reading here every day. It would be no exaggeration to say that she was the most knowledgeable among her peers. At the same time, this had also given her a clear idea of the layout of this gigantic library. Despite the hulking number of books here, she could still roughly point out the bookshelves of where the books one wanted to find was. You should get along with whatever you intend to do. I can find the books that I want by myself, so I won't trouble your highness on that. Besides, I prefer a quiet environment when I'm reading, so. Zhong Xian said with an apologetic look. His way of reading books was simply too astounding. Just by running around the library, he could record the contents of the books into his head. If anyone else were to see it, they would definitely take him to be a lunatic. As such, he felt that it would be best for him to be alone while doing it. All right, I'll be going out now then. Seeing that the other party didn't require her help, Mo Yu left the room slightly disappointed. She felt that her charms were completely meaningless before this young man. Men of her age group would naturally find themselves allured by her looks, and they would try all means to perform and brag before her. Yet, this fellow seemed completely nonchalant to her presence, treating her as though she was merely a part of the background. Sometimes, she couldn't help but feel dismayed by Zhong Xian's response, or more exactly, lack of response. Could it be that he was uninterested in women? Could he be impotent? Cough cough. Princess Mo Yu's face flushed. Given how capable the other party was as a physician, even if he was impotent, he would surely be able to treat himself. So, it must be that her charms weren't sufficient to attract the other party. After all, the other party was a genius who even Mo Hongyi couldn't compare up to. He must have high demands for his other half. Even though Mo Yu thought that she wasn't a bad candidate as a partner, that was probably limited to the sphere of a Tier 1 kingdom. The other party probably had his eyes set even further, so it's only normal for him to not be interested in her. Understanding all of these, she glanced regretfully at the young man, whose head was lowered in contemplation, before turning around to leave. Mo Xianxia had asked her to look for means to strike up connections with Zhong Xian and Guildmaster Liu, and it would be best if she could make one of them her future partner. But from the looks of it now, it was definitely impossible. If Zhong Xian were to know of her thoughts, he would definitely shake his head. Rather than a lack of interest in beautiful ladies, Zhong Xian just hadn't met one who moved his heart. Mo Yu might be pretty, but could she be prettier than Zhao Yue? On the other hand, the latter was his student, so that was out of question too. Besides, he had spent his previous life in the digital age. What kind of beauty hadn't he seen before? He had long built up a strong immunity to physical charm. More importantly, he had just arrived at a foreign world, and he hadn't truly come to terms with it yet. On top of that, there was a lethal poison within him that was threatening to blow up if he didn't reach the level of a 9-star master teacher before 30. Given the threat on his life, how could he be in the mood to pursue romance? I should begin now. Seeing that Mo Yu had left and he was the only person remaining in the book collection vault, Zhong Xian breathed out deeply. He walked over to the first shelf, placed a finger on the first book, and started running. Hua la la la. Under his touch, row after row of books appeared on the shelves of the Library of Heaven's Path. Having reached Xianxia realm pinnacle, as well as the strengthening of his soul, his rate of collection increased significantly. Who? In a silent alley, Lu Chong stopped and panted heavily. After leaving Emerald Pavilion, he changed into a fresh set of clothes, changed his hairstyle, and hid his aura. He thought that he was already safe, but somehow, the men from Lin Clan still managed to find him. He had escaped from them several times already, and in the midst, he had tried changing into many different sets of clothes, but the other party was still able to track him down each time. I have made sure to conceal my appearance back in the Emerald Pavilion, and during my escape, I made sure to stay out of open places as well. How could they still find me so quickly each time? Lu Chong frowned doubtfully. Despite his young age, he had undergone a near-death experience before, and because of it, he had learned how to escape from one's pursuers. Even though he had grown significantly stronger under Liu Laosh's guidance, he didn't act recklessly. This assassination plot was actually carefully planned and refined over a long period of time. He had made sure not to catch anyone's attention in the Emerald Pavilion, and he was certain that no one had seen his face during the time he was there. So, how could his pursuers still find him each time? I can't allow this situation to continue on like that. Lu Chong's complexion was incredibly awful. With his strength and wariness, he successfully evaded his pursuers several times. However, he knew that continuing on like this wasn't a solution. Given how relentless the other party was in their pursuit, it was just a matter of time before he was caught. If I were to head to Qianwu Academy, I might implicate teacher and the other students. Fleeing beyond the city isn't an option either. Given the vast empty terrain outside, I'll surely be found quickly. So, I can only find a hiding place within the capital. Lu Chong was anxious, but he didn't panic. If he were to head to Qianwu Academy now, someone would definitely point out that he was Liu Laosh's student, and this would bring calamity to his teacher and his peers. His teacher was his benefactor, so this course of action was out of question. As for escaping beyond the city gates, other than small patches of forests here and there, an empty plain extended to the horizon. Without the flow of crowd hiding his presence, he would only be making things easier for his pursuers. Given the Lin Clan standing, they could definitely mobilize the kingdom's army to encircle him. If he were to be surrounded in the empty plains, he would truly be doomed. Thus, the only solution was to remain in the capital. Under the concealment of the infrastructures and crowd, it would be easier for him to hide. But where can I hide for the Lin Clan to be unable to find me? Lu Chong's mind whirled swiftly. Since the other party was able to find him despite having escaped multiple times, it was likely that they possessed some kind of special mean to track him down. If he didn't find a good hiding spot, it would just be a matter of time before he was found again. He would be a goner if the other party manages to surround him. Right. Qianwu Royal Palace. Suddenly, Lu Chong's eyes lit up. A location suddenly flashed across his mind. Back then, the news of the destruction of the clan was so carefully restrained that not a single person in the master-teacher pavilion knew of it. Lu Chong would never believe it if the Qianwu royal family didn't play a part in the matter. Since they had colluded with one another, he might as well hide in the royal palace and leave those two to fight with one another. After all, no matter how formidable the Lin clan was, they couldn't possibly brazenly demand to search the royal palace. Even if they did, the royal palace couldn't possibly give in the other party's demands easily either. That would be a humiliation to the royal palace, sullying the prestige of the royal family. With an idea in mind, Lu Chong headed straight for the royal palace. Having successfully cultivated the poison body, Lu Chong's current strength was at Xianxia realm intermediate stage. Even though his cultivation wasn't top-notch in Qianwu Royal City, there were very few who could match up to him. Most guards wouldn't be able to sense his presence. It didn't take long for him to arrive at the royal palace. Chapter 375, Seeking Mouse Qianwu Royal Palace. Looking at his depressed daughter, Mo Xianxia was perplexed. What's wrong? Guild Master Liu turned down the invitation. He came. Mo Yu shook her head. However, he wishes to look through the books by his own. He doesn't need me to accompany him. Forget it. Mo Xianxia sighed. This kind of thing depends on fate. If you two aren't fated to be, there's no use forcing it. He had been wanting to pair his daughter with Guild Master Liu for a while now. If he got his way, he would be able to tie the other party onto his boat. In the future, if the Lin clan or Mo Hongyi harbored any thoughts toward the throne, they would have to think twice. But from the looks of it now, he seemed to have been expecting too much. His daughter could be considered as a phoenix among men, but she was still a far way off compared to Guild Master Liu and Xianxia. Mo Yu nodded. It wasn't that she was interested in Xian. All along, she had been the center of attention, and meeting a person who was nonchalant to her piqued her interest and her competitive spirit. However, upon seeing that she had no hopes, her heart calmed down swiftly. Father, is it the Lin clan who laid their hands on the guardian beast? Are there any movements on their end? Putting aside all other thoughts, Mo Yu's eyes regained her previous clarity. 7 eunuchs were involved in this matter. However, the moment I started looking into this matter, all of them immediately committed suicide. Mo Xianxia's eyes turned grim. I know that it's impossible for us to find anything this way. Furthermore, our enemies are in the shadows while we're in the open. This gives them the chance to prepare in advance. Even if we were to dig up anything, it might very possibly be something they planted to mislead us. Thus, while I had some of my men investigate this matter openly, I secretly sent the others on another trail. Sent the others on another trail? Mo Yu asked in bewilderment. I sent them to track the origin of the poison. A glint flashed across Mo Xianxia's eyes. Given how the poison was able to send the half-Jizuan gold-tailed lion into such a dire state without us noticing, it must be at grade 2 pinnacle, perhaps grade 3 even. Given how the poison was effective on even the gold-tailed lion, it must be extraordinarily potent. Grade 1 poison was capable of killing cultivators beneath Xianxia realm. Grade 2 poison was effective on Xianxia and even half-Jizuan. Even though this poison didn't kill the gold-tailed lion instantly, it accelerated its aging. Its effects were definitely at the level of a grade 2 pinnacle poison. Only the poison hall is capable of bringing out such a poison. Based on the results of my investigation, the Lin clan seems to have some dealings with Red Lotus City. In fact, the most powerful Great Herb King had arrived in the capital a few days ago. Mo Xianxia flung his sleeves and harumphed. All of this is way too coincidental. As such, I sent my men to investigate the matter, and the conclusion is that the Lin clan is involved in this matter. Then, what should we do? Confirming that it was the Lin clan's doing, Mo Yu's complexion turned incredibly awful. Since the other party was able to make a move on the gold-tailed lion, it might very possibly be the members of the royal family next. Once one sets his eye on absolute authority, one's ambition would start to sprout like bamboo shoots after rain. No one would be able to quell one's fiery desire anymore. Even though the gold-tailed lion has reached Xizuan realm, the Lin clan has Xianyuan kingdom serving as their backing. Thus, we can't afford to offend them. Knowing what his daughter was worried about, Mo Qianxua shook his head. So what if we know that they were the ones who did it? On top of a 3-star formation master, they even have the princess consort of Xianyuan conferred kingdom on their side. They aren't someone that we can afford to offend. As long as we pretend to be ignorant about it now, with the presence of the master-teacher pavilion, the Lin clan still wouldn't dare overstep their boundaries. However, if they were to turn against the Lin clan, Xianyuan kingdom only needed to send a slightly more formidable Xizuan realm expert to destroy their entire royal family. Indeed. It's just like the Chu clan back then. Seems like we're helpless once more. Understanding the troubles of her father, Mo Yu sighed. The Chu clan might not be a prestigious clan, but they have a huge establishment in the city. Yet, for some reason, their entire clan of 137 people were killed overnight by the Lin clan. Even until now, I can't forget this matter. Mo Qianxua clenched his fists tightly. 2 years ago, the Chu clan of Qianwu Royal City, for some unknown reason, offended the Lin clan, and over the course of a single night, the entire clan had been purged. When the royal family sent someone to look into the matter, clan head Lin arrived in the palace personally and forced them to clamp down on all news. In the end, this matter could only end inconclusively. Despite being the emperor of the country, he was unable to protect his own people. As though a thorn, this matter had been pricking on Mo Qianxua's heart. Actually, this isn't father's fault. Back then, the other party was holding onto the Xianyuan kingdom's token, saying that they are carrying out the orders of the crown prince. As a tier 1 kingdom, we can't possibly disobey his orders. Seeing the sorrowful expression of her father, Mo Yu consoled. Back then, it wasn't because they feared the Lin clan that they decided to lie low. It was because the other party was holding onto the edict from Xianyuan kingdom's crown prince. As a lower-tiered kingdom, they could only submit. I know. Mo Qianxua shook his head. In the end, a human can't defy circumstances. That's why I hoped that you can pull Guild Master Liu or Zhong Shi to our side. As long as one of them becomes the prince consort, they wouldn't dare to make a move anymore. That was the reason why Mo Qianxua had been trying to create opportunities for his daughter and Guild Master Liu to be together. However, the other party didn't seem to be interested in his daughter at all. Hearing her father's words, Mo Yu felt a little depressed. Shaking her head, she was just about to speak when a panicked eunuch rushed into the room. What's wrong? Mo Qianxua frowned. Reporting to your majesty, the third elder of the Lin clan has brought a large group of men here, saying that the royal family owes them an explanation. The eunuch trembled. We owe them an explanation. What does that mean? Mo Qianxua's eyes narrowed. We haven't even settled the score of the Lin clan poisoning the guardian beast, yet the other party came knocking? Demanding for an explanation even? Could it be that they've decided to abandon everything and decided to just go through with it? Your humble servant doesn't know. They are currently at the gates of the royal palace, and they're about to rush in. The eunuch hurriedly replied. Let's go take a look. Harumphing coldly, Mo Qianxua and Mo Yu started walking out. Soon, they arrived at the palace gates and saw a huge group from the Lin clan standing arrogantly outside. Emperor Mo Qianxua, I advise you to hurry up and hand over the man. If so, we can let this matter rest. Otherwise, don't expect this matter to end so easily. Upon seeing Mo Qianxua walking over, an elder walked forward with a menacing expression. Hand over the man? What do you mean? Mo Qianxua was baffled. Stop putting on an act. You sent your men to assassinate our young master Lin Lang. Even now, he's severely wounded and still in a coma. It can't be that you don't dare to admit it. The Lin clan's third elder narrowed his eyes. Assassinate young master Lin Lang. Mo Qianxua was even more baffled. Could there be a misunderstanding? Even though he desired to destroy the Lin clan, he knew the potential consequences of doing so. As such, he had been suppressing his desire all along. Could it be that something had happened to young Master Lin Lang? Misunderstanding? The culprit has already escaped into the royal palace, and is currently within the palace walls. Yet, you say that it's a misunderstanding. The Lin clan's third elder sneered coldly. Unable to comprehend the situation, Mo Qianxue was about to continue asking when a grey-robed man silently walked toward him and whispered a few words into his ears. He was a member of the Shadow Squad. Given the huge ruckus in the Emerald Pavilion and that the entire Lin clan was dispatched to dig out the culprit, it didn't take long for news to reach the Shadow Squad. Hearing the other party's words, Mo Qianxue immediately understood the situation, and a look of dismay appeared on his face. He had never sent anyone, and even if he did, he would ensure that the entire Lin clan would collapse with a single blow. To leave Lin Lang in a coma. Wasn't this offering the other party a reason to strike at them? Elder Lin Hui, I can tell you clearly now that Lin Lang Gong's condition isn't the doing of our royal family. Mo Qianxue said. Isn't your doing? Third elder Lin Hui laughed frostily. I'm fine with you denying it. However, you'll have to get your guards to leave so that we can search the royal palace. We'll know the truth once we find the culprit. Mo Qianxue's face turned dark, and his entire body tightened. The royal palace wasn't only the royal family's foundation, it also represented the entire kingdom's dignity. If he were to allow them to search through the royal palace, what prestige would the Qianwu royal family have to command the entire Qianwu kingdom in the future? You said that the culprit has escaped to the royal palace, but do you have any evidence? Mo Yu frowned, paying respect to Mo Shi. Glancing at Mo Yu, Lin Hui chuckled softly and said, Of course we have our basis for saying so. Then, he beckoned to the back. A man immediately walked forward with a cage in his hands. There was a snow-white mouse crawling around the cage. Lifting his nose, he kept sniffing around the place. This is a seeking mouse. Mo Qianxue's body jolted. The seeking mouse was a unique savage beast that possessed an extraordinarily sensitive nose. No matter what it was, with a single sniff, even if it was thousands of miles apart, it would be able to find it. This animal was even rarer than spirit stones, and it was hard to find even in conferred Shenyuan kingdom. To think that the Lin clan would actually possess one of them. If it was the seeking mouse, as long as the assassin left behind his scent, no matter how far he escaped or how many clothes he changed into, it was impossible for him to escape. Indeed. Seems like Emperor Qianxue recognizes it. It's not my claim that the assassin is hiding in the royal palace, but the seeking mouse's judgment. Why? Does your majesty doubt its judgment? Lin Hui harumphed. This. Mo Qianxue fell silent. Since they had followed the trial of the seeking mouse here, the culprit must truly be hiding in the royal palace. However, for him to know nothing at all, what in the world was going on? All we want to do is to capture the man who harmed the young master. We won't wreak havoc in here. If your majesty insists on stopping us, we can only take it as a sign of guilt, Lin Hui continued. If that gold-tailed lion had died, the Lin clan would definitely make use of this opportunity to force the royal family who had ruled over Qianwu Kingdom for over 1,000 years to step down. However, not only did that savage beast not die, it even became a Zhizuan realm expert. With this consideration, they had to think twice before doing anything. Before they were completely prepared, it was best not to fall out with the other party. Otherwise, if the Zhizuan realm guardian beast were to make a move, it would be hard for the Lin clan's grade 3 formation to withstand its might. Fine. Our royal family definitely didn't send anyone to harm Lin Lang Gongzi. As long the seeking mouse finds the culprit, we'll know the truth. After hesitating for a short moment, Mo Qianxue nodded. Since the other party had the seeking mouse with them, it shouldn't be too difficult for them to find the culprit. They would have no reason to overturn the royal palace under the context of conducting a search. At the same time, Mo Qianxue would also like to see who it was who assaulted Lin Lang and ran to the royal palace to frame them. Since your majesty has agreed to it, I won't stand on formalities then. Seeing that Mo Qianxue had given in, Lin Hui raised his hand, and his subordinate immediately opened the cage, allowing the seeking mouse to jump out. Lifting up its slightly slender and long nose, It sniffed around before dashing forward. "Follow it." The large group followed closely behind the seeking mouse. Chapter 376. I'm his teacher. Where is this? Qianwu Royal Palace was massive. After a moment, Lu Chong was confused by the similar-looking infrastructures all around and lost his sense of direction. After dodging a few patrols, a towering infrastructure appeared before him. 3 large words were written on a plaque above the entrance. Book Collection Vault. So, this is the kingdom's book collection vault. The Qianwu Kingdom Book Collection Vault had all kinds of books from all around the world in it. It encompassed nearly all of the knowledge from the surrounding 13 kingdoms, making it extremely well known. Lu Chong had long heard of it. Many young men took it as an honor to be able to enter the library to browse through its books. To think that after circling around the royal palace, he would stumble into this area. To think that there are no formations guarding the area. Carefully taking a look around the book collection vault, Lu Chong was stunned for a moment. Usually, this kind of location where knowledge was stored should be guarded with a formation. Without a unique token or such, one would be attacked upon entry. Yet, at this moment, he couldn't sense the slightest ripple in the spiritual energy in the air. Apparently, the book collection vault seemed to be completely unguarded at the moment. Did someone stop the formation? Hurry up, he should be in here. Don't let him get away, guard the area. Just as Lu Chong was overwhelmed with bafflement, he suddenly heard footsteps and voices. They are here. Knowing that this wasn't the time to be thinking about such matters, Lu Chong rushed straight into the book collection vault. He silently opened the door and slipped into the area. He didn't have any other options. There was no place for him to escape to. He could only hope that the other party would back down due to the importance of this location. Row after row of books stood imposingly on the shelves, and giant night illumination pearls were embedded in the area, bringing radiance to this library. Surprisingly, there wasn't the slightest bit of gloominess and darkness that a sealed vault should have. Knowing that it was likely there was someone in here, Lu Chong carefully proceeded forward to look for a hiding place. However, at this moment, he suddenly heard flurried footsteps in front. He lifted his head to take a look. A figure was running about the book collection vault, as though a lunatic. Other people came to the book collection to vault to read books or browse through books. Running in here. What the heck was this? Furthermore, to run so fast. It was impossible to even see the name of the book like that. What in the world was the person up to? Wait, teacher. Just as Lu Chong was perplexed over who this fool who was running about furiously was, his eyes suddenly caught the side profile of the other party's face and his body jolted. It was his teacher, Liu Cheng. What was his teacher doing here instead of teaching at the academy? Lu Chong was dumbstruck. He had no idea what was going on. What are you doing here? Xianxia was in the midst of collecting books in the book collection vault when he noticed that someone was hiding by the corner. Initially, he thought that it would be Mo Yu or someone from the royal family, but never in his dreams did he expect that it would be his student who was out for vengeance. He immediately stopped what he was doing and walked over. Aren't you in the midst of exacting your vengeance? Could it be that? Xianxia suddenly paused, and his eyebrows flew up. Your enemy is Qianwu Kingdom's royal family. The other party said that he was out for vengeance, but he ended up coming to the royal palace. Could the enemy of this student of his be the royal family? That's why the other party didn't tell him anything for fear of implicating him. That seemed extremely probable. Probably only the royal family was capable of inducing such fear in him, going to the extent of even playing off as a mute. If that was truly the case, then Xianxia would be in a spot. Putting aside his relationship with Mo Yu, the Qianwu royal family had given him several spirit stones as a show of goodwill. On top of that, Mo Xianxia didn't seem like the type to commit atrocities, slaughtering another clan on his own whim. Furthermore, even if he were to do so, given that he wielded authority in his hands, it wasn't too difficult for him to pin a crime on the other party. There was no need for him to do it so secretively. Could there be a misunderstanding between the two? Hesitating for a moment, Lu Chong was just about to speak up when the sound of hasty footsteps sounded outside, and the doors to the book collection vault was opened. Search properly. The culprit is definitely inside. Hualala. With a loud bellow, a group of men rushed in. The duo stood at the back of the first shelf, hiding from the sight of the crowd. As such, the crowd who came in didn't notice them immediately. Even so, they seemed as though they wouldn't back down until they found their target, so being caught was just a matter of time. Knowing that it would be difficult for him to survive this calamity, Lu Chong didn't panic. Instead, with determined eyes, he kneeled to the floor, kowtowed several times, and with reddened eyes, he said, "Please pardon your unfilial student for being unable to wait upon you. If there's an afterlife, I hope that I can still become teacher's student." In the end, the person he felt the most indebted to was his teacher. If he died, he could accompany his parents and kin. On the other hand, this teacher of his had given so much to him, putting in so much effort so as to raise his cultivation. Yet, he was unable to repay the favor the other party had shown him. "Teacher, I am sorry. I didn't wish to disappoint you. Teacher, if there's an afterlife, I wish to become your student once more. There, I will serve you until I'm old, never to leave your side." Gritting his teeth, Lu Chong burst forward and headed straight toward the door. His sudden appearance immediately caught the attention of the crowd. "GG," the seeking mouse squeaked in confirmation of the target. "He's indeed here. Let's see where he can escape to." Sneering coldly, an elder of the Lin clan stepped forward. Hoo. Before even making a move, his intimidating aura had already permeated into the surroundings, revealing his Xianxia realm intermediate stage cultivation. Knowing that it was impossible for him to retreat, Lu Chong drove his poison body to its limit without the slightest hesitation to face the elder. "You must be tired of living." Chuckling softly, the Lin clan elder clenched his fist tightly and sent it straight toward Lu Chong. The immense might of the fist compressed the air, sending a huge gust of wind flying straight toward its target, making it difficult for one to breathe. Lu Chong's muscles tightened in the face of the overwhelming shock wave from the fist. As a clan of formation masters, the Lin clan had many years of history behind it. It possessed a huge collection of impressive battle techniques and cultivation techniques, making it on par even with the Qianwu Kingdom royal family. The battle technique this elder used was an exceptionally famous fist art. Fist of the Radiant Sun. This fist art was exceptionally powerful and violent, and it carried an energy reminiscent of the burning sun. It flew straight toward its target as soon as it was executed, leaving one helpless before it. Putting aside those of the same cultivation realm, even Xianxia realm advanced stage experts would immediately avoid it for fear of its might. It seemed like this fellow was adamant to defeat Lu Chong. In the very first move, he had already executed his strongest move. Knowing that death was what that awaited him, Lu Chong chose not to dodge. Instead, with reddened eyes, he charged straight at the other party. With a loud explosion, the elder's palm struck Lu Chong's body. At the same time, the latter's shoulder struck the elder's chest. Pang! The Lin clan elder spurted a mouthful of blood, and he was immediately sent flying backward. Then, his vision turned dark and he fainted. On the other hand, Lu Chong was forced back 2 steps. He forcefully swallowed the blood which was regurgitating in his mouth. His Xianxia realm intermediate stage cultivation was very much different from that of other cultivators. His strength came entirely from his physical body. While the other party's fist of the Radiant Sun was powerful, it only dealt excruciating pain to Lu Chong. It did little to wound his vitals. Having defeated a Xianxia realm intermediate stage expert with a single blow, Lu Chong roared deeply before continuing to charge straight to the exit of the book collection vault. If he were to stay here, not only would he die, he might even implicate his teacher. The only thing he could do now was to charge out of the other party's encirclement and escape as far as he could. It would be much better for him to die outside than to die here. Since you're already in here, don't dream of getting out. Not expecting the Xianxia realm expert of their clan would be knocked out in a single blow, Lin Hui's face steeled. Roaring furiously, he immediately stood in Lu Chong's path. That single movement revealed his cultivation realm. This third elder Lin Hui was a Xianxia realm pinnacle expert. Furthermore, judging from how dense his Xianxia was, he didn't pale to Mo Qianxue in any aspects. He could be considered as strong even among those of the same realm. As expected of the number 7 in the 10 great experts ranking of the kingdom. Mo Yu's eyes narrowed. Qianwu Kingdom had ranked the Xianxia realm pinnacle experts in their territory based on their battle result. This elder Lin Hui usually kept a low profile, so he wasn't too famous in the kingdom. However, his strength was not to be underestimated. To be able to be ranked in the 7th place meant that even the top genius Mo Hongyi had to cross over 100 blows with him to defeat him. That assassin is probably done for. Mo Yu turned to examine Lu Chong. Even though she had been to Zhong Xian's classroom, she had never met Lu Chong, so she didn't recognize him. However, upon seeing the other party's age, she couldn't help but exclaim in astonishment. A 16 to 17-year-old Xianxia realm intermediate stage cultivator. This feat was even superior to that of Mo Hongyi. When did such a monster appear in the kingdom? To be able to reach such strength at such a young age, his future must be bright. For such a talented person to destroy his own future by assaulting Lin Lang, he must have a huge grudge with the Lin clan. Turning around to look at her father, she realized that Mo Qianxue was also perplexed. Actually, Mo Qianxue was the most dismayed of the group. If it was someone he sent, at the very least, he wouldn't feel so indignant. Where in the world did this fellow pop out from? And why would he hide in the book collection vault of the royal palace? Even if he were to explain the situation now, the Lin clan would definitely not believe him. Looks like a huge battle can't be avoided anymore. While the duo was still in shock, elder Lin Hui's palm had already fallen on Lu Chong. Huala. The other party's dense Xianxia had sealed all retreat paths for Lu Chong, leaving him with no choice but to face the palm face on. He might be able to charge straight at the elder before, but facing Lin Hui, due to the huge disparity in their strength, he could already feel the strength coursing through his body being suppressed even before crossing blow with the other party, making every single movement difficult for him. Catcher! Under the tremendous might, Lu Chong's body caved in, and he was just about to fall down. In a battle between experts, the slightest error could spell one's death. As long as Lu Chong failed to persevere on, not only would he be injured, the injury he sustained from before would also worsen, leaving him with no strength to fight back anymore. It's over. Under the immense pressure, Lu Chong felt that he was coming to his limits, and a dark shadow appeared in his eyes. His final wish was to escape as far as he could, even if it meant his death, so that he wouldn't implicate his teacher into this matter. Yet, this elder was simply way too strong, leaving him completely helpless. Goodbye, teacher. Goodbye, my benefactor. Just as Lu Chong closed his eyes, giving up on all retaliation, he suddenly felt the force on his body lightened. Someone had grabbed him from behind and he was thrown several dozen meters away. Pang! Lin Hui's massive strength fell on where Lu Chong stood before, and a layer of dust blew into the air. Unknowingly, a young man had appeared before elder Lin Hui. He was the one who had thrown Lu Chong back just now. Who are you? To dare to stand in the Lin clan's path, are you so eager to die? Lin Hui glared at the young man furiously, and a menacing killing intent burst forth from him. Hold it for a moment, it's a misunderstanding. Upon seeing the young man, Mo Qianxue hurriedly stepped forward. Mo Qianxue was the one who had his daughter invite Guild Master Liu here to browse through the books in the book collection vault. The other party must be oblivious to the happenings outside, and upon seeing the young man before him getting bullied by a group of experts, he couldn't help but step in to defend the other party. Thinking so, Mo Qianxue stepped forward to introduce both sides. Elder Lin Hui, this is the newly appointed Guild Master of the Physician Guild, Liu Cheng. Guild Master Liu, this is the third elder of the Lin clan, Lin Hui. Liu Cheng. Upon hearing the introduction, Lin Hui harumphed coldly in disdain. You must be the new guild leader who solved 19 questions on the wall of dilemma. In respect of your identity and standing, if you get lost now, I can overlook your previous actions. Otherwise, don't blame me for getting nasty. Guild Master Liu. Being a guild master may seem impressive, but without a sufficiently high cultivation realm, one couldn't even qualify to take on the official examination. In a sense, this title was empty. In any case, Lin Hui wasn't even afraid of the previous guild master. Why should he fear this pseudo? Initially, Zhong Xian thought that Lu Chong's enemy was the Qianwu royal family, and if that was the case, he would be put at a spot. However, upon seeing that it was the Lin clan, he immediately heaved a sigh of relief. Lifting his head, the edges of his lips slowly curled up. What if I refuse? Where in the world did this arrogant fellow come from? Guild Master Liu. Upon hearing these words, Mo Xianxia was nearly scared to death. He hurried forward and explained the situation. The Lin clan young master has just met with an assassination, and elder Lin Hui is in the midst of pursuing the murderer. The young man you saw just now is the culprit, so it's best for you not to get involved. Out of goodwill, Mo Xianxia tried to advise Xianxia. Even he was unwilling to offend the Lin clan. The person before him might be the guild master of the physician guild, but before his cultivation becomes worthy of his position, he didn't wield the equivalent authority to it. Under such circumstances, it was wiser to stay out of the Lin clan's path. Besides, this matter is none of your business. Why should you involve yourself in such trouble? This friend here, I appreciate your goodwill. However, I will take responsibility for my own actions. I am the one who beat up Lin Lang, so I'll leave with them. This matter has nothing to do with you. Clenching his jaws, Lu Chong walked forward. If Lu Chong were to admit to the relationship of the two, not only would he die, his teacher would be pulled down as well. The only thing he could do now was to steer clear of the other party. It was one thing for him to die, but he mustn't implicate his teacher in this matter. If that happened, even in death, he would never be able to forgive himself. Xianxia, don't quarrel with them. The Lin clan is problematic. Fearing that the other party might be oblivious to the situation, Mo Yu hurriedly sent a telepathic message to him. At the same time, she felt a little bewildered. From the moment they met, this fellow had been a person who didn't like getting involved in troublesome matters. Why would he stand up for someone he didn't know? You refuse? Does Guild Master Liu intend to stand against our Lin clan for a stranger? Taking the attitude of the crowd into sight, Lin Hui immediately understood the situation and sneered coldly. As a member of the dominant Lin clan, he had the confidence to go with it. As long as he reported his identity, people would be willing to abandon even their closest kin, needless to say, a stranger. He thought that this Guild Master Liu was just young and hot-blooded, that's why he chose to stand forward for a stranger. The other party should back down in fear once he knew of their identity. After all, a Tier 1 Kingdom Guildmaster in name meant nothing to the Lin clan. The other party was someone they could squash easily. Indeed. This friend, don't get into a conflict with the Lin clan for a stranger like me. Lu Chong advised anxiously. Shut up. Did I allow you to speak? Understanding the intentions of his student, Xianxia frowned and bellowed. Then, turning to Lin Hui and the others, he said, Pardon me, but I happen to know the assassin you speak of. He's my student, and I am his teacher. Teacher, you. Lu Chong didn't think that his teacher would straight up admit to it. This was equivalent to directly opposing the Lin clan for him. His entire body shuddered, and his eyes reddened. He could no longer hold back his tears, and slowly, they trickled down his cheeks and fell to the floor. Chapter 377. Lu Chong's Gratitude. I am his teacher. These words sounded ordinary and simple, and there wasn't any excessive adornment or vehement emotions behind them. Yet, Lu Chong felt as though he was shrouded in warm water, and his blood coursed swiftly through his body. Having come from a wealthy clan, he knew how valuable the lethal poison his teacher concocted for him was. He also understood how valuable the cultivation technique the other party imparted him was. Without demanding anything return, he gave it his all to guide him, even going to the extent of offending the Lin clan. All of this, just because he called him teacher. Just because he was his student. Teacher, do you know that your admission is equivalent to falling out with the Lin clan? They will never let you get away with this. It isn't worth going this far for a student who you've barely known for 6 days and hasn't done anything for you. I have truly pulled you down. Lu Chong's body trembled in agitation. Xianxia, you. Mo Yu was taken aback as well. She had thought that the two weren't related to one another, but to think that the assassin was his student. But, even if the assassin was his student, they probably just met not too long ago. To offend the entire Lin clan over such a reckless fellow. Was it truly worth it? Your student. Lin Hui was stunned. He found the situation hard to believe. This Guild Master Liu, despite being a Tongxian Realm primary stage cultivator, actually groomed a Xianxia Realm intermediate stage student? But soon, he recovered from his shock. This kind of situation wasn't completely unheard of in this world. A student might not necessarily be inferior to his teacher, and a teacher might not necessarily be more virtuous than his students. Everyone has their own strengths, and this is how the world operated. Given how skilled this Guild Master Liu was in the way of medicine, it was highly possible that this assassin was simply his student in medicine rather than cultivation. Indeed. Xianxia placed his hands behind his back and nodded. Since the other party called him teacher, he couldn't abandon him at this moment. Even if it means offending the entire world, as long as you are my student, I will make sure you are safe. Good. Seeing the other party respond to his question, Lin Hui soon calmed down. Then, staring at Xianxia, the corners of his lips crept up. It's good that you admitted to it. Say, how did our young master offend you? Why did you send your student to assassinate him? Elder Lin, what do you mean by that? Even if Guild Master Liu is that boy's teacher, he can't possibly know every action of his. He isn't his nanny or maid. Mo Yu's face darkened. So what if Xianxia was that fellow's teacher? Must it be under a teacher's orders that a student killed someone? What kind of logic was that? Teachers are only responsible for clarifying one's doubts and guiding one on the right path. They aren't responsible for their own student's life. In fact, even parents didn't have that responsibility. Mo Shi, this is a matter between the Lin clan and Guild Master Liu. It isn't your place to interfere. Flinging his sleeves, Lin Hui interrupted Mo Yu, turned to Xianxia, and chuckled. Guild Master Liu, you are also a respectable figure. Do you wish to follow me obediently, or do you need me to drag you away? He thought that the one who attempted to assassinate the young master was just an insignificant ruffian, but to think that such a formidable figure was behind it. However, this was an opportunity as well. As long as they taught this Guild Master Liu a lesson, they could strike fear in the hearts of the entire kingdom. Everyone would learn better than to offend the Lin clan. I'm not done browsing through my books, so I don't have the time to follow you around. Xianxia shook his head. When Lu Chong barged in, Xianxia had barely looked through half of the books in the book collection vault. He still needed some time to finish reading all of it, so he didn't have the effort to waste on this fellow. Browsing through books. Lin Hui was dumbstruck for a moment before his complexion darkened. I tried to spare your dignity, didn't I? No matter what reason you give, you have to follow me to the Lin clan today and accept your punishment. To dare to harm the young master of our Lin clan, at minimum, your cultivation will be crippled, or at worst, you might even be killed on the spot. Let me warn you, don't force me to make a move. You might be the guild master of the Physician Guild, but your strength is only at Tongxian Realm primary stage. You aren't a match for me. Killing you isn't any harder than smashing an egg for me. Teacher. Lu Chong immediately charged forward to stand before Xianxia, protecting him. Nervous, he clenched his fists tightly together. He had just experienced Lin Hui's strength firsthand, and it was indeed fearsome. His teacher's fighting prowess couldn't even compare to his. How could he be an opponent for the other party? Xianxia. Mo Yu was also worried. She knew that Xianxia wasn't weak, but he was only at Xianxia Realm primary stage. Furthermore, he only achieved a breakthrough during the master-teacher examination a few days ago, so it was impossible for him to be a match for the other party. Force you to make a move. Feel free to do so. Pushing Lu Chong to be side, Xianxia glanced at Lin Hui as though he was a pitiful fellow and shook his head. Since you are so eager to die, allow me to grant your wish. Narrowing his eyes, Lin Hui harumphed coldly. Then, with a swift movement, his palm flew abruptly toward Xianxia. Huala. Just like with Lu Chong a moment ago, before the palm could even reach, the air in the surroundings seemed to have solidified, locking Xianxia in place. Teacher. Clenching his fists tightly, Lu Chong was about to sacrifice himself to protect his teacher when he saw Liu Laoshi shake his head. The other party's hands remained firmly behind his back, and with a lazy expression, he lifted his legs and kicked at the other party. Xianxia's kick was so swift that one could barely see the afterimage of his movement. Before anyone could fully perceive the situation, his leg had already struck the area right in between the other party's thighs. Catcher! The crisp sound of eggs breaking echoed in the room. Ah! Flying into the air, Lin Hui released a high-pitched scream of agony which threatened to burst the crowd's eardrums. After which, that arrogant fellow fell to the floor and scrunched together as though a shrimp. White foam kept flowing out of the corners of his mouth, and his entire body twitched non-stop. Ah! Lu Chong, Mo Qianxue, and the others were dumbfounded. They had seen Lin Hui's attack clearly. As expected of the seventh strongest expert in the kingdom before his palm even arrived, the pressure from his assault was already sufficient to render anyone helpless. Even if Mo Hongyi wanted to defeat the other party, he would take at least 100 blows. Yet, with a single kick, this Liu Laoshe immediately sent him rolling around the floor, as though a dying dog. When did subduing a Xianxia realm pinnacle expert become so easy? The heck? Aren't you a Tongxian realm primary stage cultivator? To render a Xianxia realm pinnacle expert powerless with a single kick. Mo Yu was also dumbstruck. She had personally seen Zhongxian reach Xianxia realm a few days ago. There was a huge gap between Xianxia realm primary stage and Xianxia realm pinnacle, and it was completely impossible for the former to even match up to the latter. Yet, to subdue the other party with a single kick. How in the world did he do it? Even the guards behind Lin Hui were flabbergasted. They thought that it was a sealed deal since the third elder was making a move personally. Who could have thought that before his attack could reach the other party, he was already rendered infertile with a single kick? There's no need to face a person head-on in a battle. What you should do is to find the other party's weakness and utilize it against him. Take for example this elder. He managed to conceal his aura within, so his only visible flaw is that spot. If you strike at his weakness accurately, you can subdue him effectively. Ignoring the widened mouths of the crowd, Zhongxian turned to Lu Chong and explained. The other party had reached Xianxia realm pinnacle as well, and his fighting prowess was one to behold. In a straightforward battle, even despite Zhongxian's immense strength of 5,000 ding, he couldn't have subdued the other party with a single blow. However, possessing the eye of insight, he was able to see the direction and speed of the flow of the other party's zhenqi. Thus, he immediately kicked out and struck the other party's Ming men. And thus, this fellow was in for a round of suffering. Yes. Despite nearly killing the Lin clan third elder with a single kick, his teacher still deciphered the entire situation and explained it to him as though it wasn't a big deal. Feeling a little awkward, it took Lu Chong a while before he recovered and hurriedly nodded his head. Good. Nodding his head in satisfaction, Zhongxian instructed. Since you understand, give it a try. Previously, when Lu Chong was fighting against the other elder, his moves were too unpolished, and he relied too heavily on brute force to break through the other party's offense. Since he was free now, Zhongxian decided to guide him along. Give it a try. Lu Chong hesitated. Indeed. Cultivation and fighting instincts require consistent polishing and refinement. If you don't practice, how can you grow stronger than the others? Zhongxian frowned. Battle techniques were just empty movements if one wasn't able to integrate it into a real battle. Only when one managed to bring it out naturally in a true battle would it be able to show its true might and effectiveness. Yes. After a moment of hesitation, Lu Chong gritted his teeth and walked up to Lin Hui, who was scrunched up as though a shrimp. Then, facing a certain spot, he lifted his leg and kicked at him forcefully. Ah! Upon having that which was shattered kicked fiercely again, Lin Hui's eyes flipped upward. With this single blow, even the pipe was gone. Unable to hold on any further, he immediately keeled over. After kicking the other party, Lu Chong turned to look at his teacher to listen to his evaluation, only to see the latter glaring at him furiously. When I asked you to give it a try, I meant those guards. Who asked you to kick him? It was no wonder why Zhongxian was angry. He explained so much to the other party to make him understand that technique is equally important and brute strength. His motive for asking the other party to give it a try was also simple. Even though Lin Hui was down, there was still a huge group of guards for him to practice on. Perhaps, His skills might improve if he refined his offense on them. In any case, they were all his enemies, so it wouldn't matter beating them up either. But what the heck are you doing? Why did you go and kick Lin Hui? That fellow is already spurting white foam. What can you learn from kicking him? Does stabbing a knife into a corpse means that you have managed to kill someone? Yes. It was only then that Lu Chong understood his teacher's intentions. With a face flushed in embarrassment, he charged straight at the other guards. The guards were mostly at Tongxian realm. While they weren't weak, but compared to a Xianxia realm intermediate stage expert, they meant nothing at all. In just a short moment, they were all lying on the ground, motionless, and just like Lin Hui, white foam flowed out from their mouths. UN. Even though Lu Chong's offense was still slightly stiff, there was a visible improvement from his completely unrefined movements from before. Thus, Zhong Xian nodded in satisfaction. Upon seeing this sight, Mo Yu and Mo Chenchua's eyes circled around their socket, and they felt frenzied within. Liu Laosha, do you know what you're doing? This is the third elder and their guards of the Lin clan. To render the former infertile and knock out all of the guards. This is equivalent to a complete fallout with the Lin clan. There is no room for reconciliation. Your student might be reckless, but as an elder, you should know better. Teacher. After knocking out everyone, Lu Chong walked up to Zhong Xian and kneeled down. Agitation and gratitude reflected in his eyes. Being pursued, he had no choice but to hide his identity. In this period of time, he had undergone and seen numerous betrayals. He had once considered the possibility that his teacher might deliver him to the Lin clan once he knew of his enemy. But contrary to all that he could have imagined, not only did his teacher not do that, he even helped him despite incurring the wrath of the Lin clan. He could never repay this gratitude in this lifetime. Knowing that Lu Chong was expressing his thanks, Zhong Xian nodded his head. Just as he was about to speak, his mind jolted, and the library of Heaven's Path shuddered. The golden book appeared once more. This. Zhong Xian was stunned. He had only thought of saving his own student. He didn't think that the other party's gratitude would bring him a golden page. Chapter 378, Physician Mu Hong's Breakdown. With this page, I can finally assimilate all of those books in the library of Heaven's Path into my knowledge. Zhong Xian smiled. After traveling out of Qianxian Kingdom, he had visited the Beast Hall, Poison Hall, Apothecary Guild, Qianwu Kingdom's book collection vault. There were more than 12 million books in the library of Heaven's Path. The content of all of these books added up to an unimaginably massive amount of knowledge. By then, even without the library of Heaven's Path, his knowledge would be sufficient to or others. Taking on the 3-star Master Teacher examination wouldn't be an issue for him. I should think about it only after collecting the books in the book collection vault. Knowing that it wasn't easy to produce a golden page, Zhong Xian wasn't in a rush to use it. In any case, this was a single-use item. Thus, the more books he collected, the greater the use of the golden page. At the moment, he was only halfway through the books. It wouldn't be too late for him to use it once he was done collecting all of them. Delighted at the formation of the golden page, Zhong Xian looked at Lu Chong in satisfaction. Stand up. You are my student, and I am your teacher. As long as our relationship holds. I cannot stand by idly and watch as you are insulted. Helping the young man up, Zhong Xian nodded slowly. Understanding the true meaning behind the teacher and student relationship, Zhong Xian meant the words that he just said. The earnest sincerity in his words affected all those listening to it, as though an impartation of heaven's will, causing everyone's soul to tremble in agitation. Even he himself couldn't help but feel refreshed after saying those words. It was as though his mind had cleared up suddenly. Mo Yu clenched her fists tightly. No wonder Zhao Wei and Mu Xueqing are willing to give it their all to fight for his honor. So, this is the true meaning behind being a teacher and student. She was a master teacher as well, and she had her own students too. However, her understanding of teachers and students was only limited to the impartation of knowledge and clarifying doubts. All along, she couldn't understand how Zhong Xian's students could come into conflict with one another just because of a few words. But now, she finally understood. It was out of pure admiration for their teacher. It was because of their teacher's earnest sincerity in facing them that the students were willing to follow him, going to the extent of even fighting to defend his honor. Incredible. Mo Xianxia nodded. As the emperor of Qianwu Kingdom, he had met with many teachers and students. However, it was an extremely rare sight to see such deep trust between teacher and student. Many teachers and students only come together out of convenience and benefit, and such a relationship was bound to fall apart eventually. It was no wonder why he could win the hearts of all of his students in just a few days in Qianwu Academy. His character and charisma were truly way beyond other teachers, and this included master teachers as well. To win the hearts of others, one had to present his own first. He felt completely impressed. This Liu Laoshi treated his students with his heart, treating them with utmost honesty and concern. Naturally, it was only right for him to win the love and respect of his students. Then, Mo Xianxia turned to look at the guards and the convulsing elder Lin Hui on the floor, and a headache immediately struck him. Cough cough, it's not that I want to ruin this atmosphere, but Guild Master Liu, you were truly reckless this time. The people you two are going against aren't just anyone but the Lin clan. Even if the Lin clan don't dare to do anything to you out of fear of your position as the Guild Master of the Physician Guild, but what about your students? Your kin and friends? The Lin clan didn't just have the backing of the Formation Master Guild. There's also the Princess Consort of Shenyuan Kingdom. That unreasonable older sister of Lin Lang. This was what worried him the most. 2 years ago, a conflict broke out with the Chu clan when her elder sister was visiting, so she sent a Zhizuan realm subordinate to destroy the entire Chu clan. The royal palace knew of this matter, but intimidated by the Zhizuan realm expert, they couldn't say a single word. But now, the student injured Lin Lang severely, and according to the rumors, he even pushed the other party into a fecal drain, humiliating him. On the other hand, the teacher went even further, castrating the Lin clan's third elder, leaving him no different from a eunuch. This was picking a fight with the Lin clan. Furthermore, it was the kind of irreconcilable one. Reckless. Hearing his words, Zhongxian looked at Mo Xianxia impassively and replied, even if I did nothing today, do you think that the Lin clan would treat me kindly? This. Mo Xianxia was stumped. If Lu Chong was truly taken away today, given the Lin clan's means and connections, it would be a walk in the park to find out who his teacher was. Zhongxian's feat of saving the gold-tailed lion and pointing out that it was poisoned had wrecked the Lin clan's plans, making him an eyesore to them. Even if they knew that Zhongxian wasn't involved in this matter, they might very well make use of it to strike him. Thus, it was just bringing the conflict forward. Since Lu Chong calls me his teacher, I can't stand and watch idly by the side. Deciding not to dawdle on this matter, Zhongxian said impassively, I'm not done looking through the books yet, so I'll leave you all to settle the rest. As for Lu Chong, wait for me here. Don't leave this place first. After which, he walked back into the depths of the book collection vault, and it didn't take long for him to disappear from the eyes of the crowd. He wants to continue reading now. Even with this timing, he still has the mood to continue reading. Seeing him heading into the depths of the book collection vault, Mo Xianxia and Mo Yu glanced at one another and a strong sense of vertigo overwhelmed them. Big brother, this is the Lin clan. Even the royal family doesn't dare to face them head-on. After beating up their elder, you simply throw him on the ground and leave him to be. Continue reading? There are more than 10 million books in this book collection vault. Even a decade wouldn't be sufficient for you to finish all of them. What use is there for you to read for a little longer? This fellow. Perhaps. He truly likes reading. After a long moment of silence, Mo Yu forced out a few words. It had been a while since she was acquainted with Zhongxia. She remembered that back then, when they were at the Beast Hall, he also demanded to look through the books in the library. After which, when they arrived at Red Lotus City, the reward he wanted for treating the Great Herb King was also books. Right now, even though he had picked a fight with the Lin clan, all that was on his mind was to read books. Exactly how deep was his passion for reading? It was no wonder why he could take on so many occupations at such a young age. This probably had something to do with his passion for books. The thoughts of the duo wandered around the place. Actually, Zhongxian wasn't acting calm. He truly didn't think much of the Lin clan. While it might be the dominant power in Qianwu Kingdom, but he didn't think that it posed a threat to him. Even though Zhongxian's strength was only at Xianxia realm pinnacle, with the Library of Heaven's Path, he could match up to even a half-Shizuan expert. If it comes down to it, he could also summon for the Steel Fang Howling Firmament Beast to back him up, or even reveal his identity as Zhongxia, a genius master teacher, the senior of Pavilion Master Jiang, and Master Teacher Yang Xian's student. With his identity, no matter how brazen the other party was, it was unlikely that they would dare to do anything to him. Thus, in Zhongxian's eyes, the Lin clan that Mo Qianxue and the others feared tremendously meant nothing at all. Rather than wasting time on them, it was a better use of time to read books. Lin clan. The Lin clan's elder assembly room was a grand and extravagant hall. It was usually restricted to the others, and even elders would have to apply for permission before being allowed to enter. However, at this moment, a huge crowd was gathered, and the entire field was chaotic. Two young men with faces swollen as large as a pig's head were lying on the floor. It was nearly impossible to discern who they were just by their outer appearance itself. They were Lin Lang and Jimo Gongzi, whom Lu Chong mercilessly pummeled. At this moment, the filth had already been washed out from their body. But even so, the stench had seeped into their skin. No matter how many times they were washed, green flies still lingered around them, as though they had found a pair of rare delicacies. Just the sight of it was sufficient to disgust the food out of one. In the room stood the clan head of the Lin clan, Lin Ruotian, and few other people. Clan head Lin, what's going on? How did my son land in such a state during a visit to the Emerald Pavilion? Amidst the ruckus, a tall middle-aged man walked over anxiously. The clan head of the Ji clan, Ji Feng. Upon seeing the motionless body of his son on the floor, Ji Feng's face steeled. Rage bubbled deep within him, threatening to erupt at any moment. He knew of Jimo Gongzi's intention to visit Lin Lang Gongzi to plead with him. In fact, he was the one who hinted it to him. Otherwise, how could Jimo ride a carriage out so openly when he was supposed to be grounded in the residence? Initially, he thought that with the influence of Lin Lang and the Lin clan, the matter with Zhongxia could be easily resolved. Yet, never in his dreams did he expect that before this matter could be settled, his son was already beaten up to such a tragic state. The Emerald Pavilion was Lin Lang's establishment, the expenditure abyss of the capital. Not even nobles dared to act up in there, yet Jimo was knocked into a coma in there. Who in the world could it be? How dare he? Did he have no eyes for the law, for the Ji clan, for the Lin clan? Atrocious. Clan head Ji, calm down. The third elder has already led a team to apprehend the culprit. He should be returning soon. Lin Ruotian said. Besides, your son isn't the only one. Even my Langer came under his attack. Even Lin Lang Gongzi was attacked. Ji Feng had rushed here immediately upon hearing the news about his son being beaten up, so he was oblivious that Lin Lang was attacked as well. He hurriedly asked, "Where is Lin Lang Gongzi? Are his wounds severe? Isn't he lying together with your son?" Lin Ruotian's complexion darkened. What in the world is wrong with your eyes? My son is lying right next to your son. How can you miss him? This is Lin Lang Gongzi. Only then did Ji Feng notice another figure lying next to his son, and he immediately leapt in shock upon seeing the face. Even though his son was severely injured, he could at least see the rough distinctive features on him. But this Lin Lang Gongzi was beaten to the point that he didn't even seem human anymore. On top of that, an overpowering stench was emanating from him. If not for clan head Lin's words, Ji Feng could have never imagined that this pighead-like fellow was the famous #1 Gongzi in the capital. It was impossible to guess this much solely from his outer appearance. What happened? Swallowing a mouthful of saliva, Ji Feng asked hesitantly. He thought that the other party was already being brazen for beating his son, but to think that even Lin Lang Gongzi wasn't spared either. At this moment, he realized that the other party wasn't just brazen, he was insane. The two of them were already in this state by the time I arrived. Lin Ruotian shook his head. He wasn't exactly sure of the happenings either. He had to wait for the third elder's return to confirm the matter. Then, we should treat them quickly. Their wounds don't seem to be light. Seeing that the other party wasn't certain on this matter, Ji Feng chose not to dawdle on this topic. Their injuries seem to be a little bizarre. Ordinary physicians are incapable of treating them. I have already invited physician Mu Hong from the Physician Guild over. Judging from the time, he should be arriving soon. Lin Ruotian replied. Okay. Ji Feng nodded. Other than the guild master Liu, who suddenly became famous recently, the most capable physician in the capital was physician Mu Hong. As the previous guild master and a 3-star physician, he wasn't an easy figure to mobilize. Even so, he didn't dare to turn down an invitation from the clan head of the Lin clan. Chapter 379, Physician Mu Hong's breakdown. Not too long later, physician Mu Hong arrived under an elder's lead, paying respects to clan head Lin and clan head Ji. Mu Hong clasped his fist and greeted impassively. As a 3-star physician, he had his own pride. Even though these two were powerful figures in the capital, given his standing, there was no need for him to act subserviently around them. Grandmaster Mu, I ask of you to save my son. Lin Ruotian hurriedly requested. Don't worry. Offering the other party an assurance, Mu Hong walked nonchalantly toward Lin Lang and Ji Mo, squatted down, and started examining the duo. There was no such thing as feeling one's pulse in this world, but examining, questioning, and listening were 3 fundamentals to diagnosing. Even though he couldn't question the other party due to their lack of consciousness, as a 3-star physician, he was still able to determine the rough problem the duo was suffering from. How is it? After a long moment of silence, Lin Ruotian couldn't hold back his anxiety any longer and asked nervously. Lin Lang was his only son, and he had always doted on him. Seeing the other party in such a state had left him discomposed. His injuries are severe. It seems like someone has struck him forcefully, only relying brute force. If I'm not wrong, the person who injured him must be someone who is adept in physical body cultivation. After finishing his diagnosis, Mu Hong exhaled deeply and stood up. Placing his hands behind his back, he began explaining. Cultivators often use Xianxia when fighting with one another, and one of the most distinctive traits of injuries caused by Xianxia was that they tended to be internal. In other words, injuries sustained from fighting with another cultivator tended to be at one's meridians or organs. On the other hand, the two before him had their teeth knocked off, bones shattered, and skin ripped apart. It was clear that this was mostly done using physical strength. Thus, the culprit must either be an expert skilled in physical body cultivation or a savage beast. A physical body cultivator. Lin Ruotian frowned. He hadn't heard of anyone cultivating one's physical body to the level of a Xianxia realm in Qianwu Royal City. Perplexed, he looked at the physician Mu Hong worriedly and asked, Grandmaster Mu, is there any way to treat them? If not, I'll try looking for other physicians, or perhaps, invite Guild Master Liu over. Don't worry, it's just some superficial wounds. There's nothing to worry about. Hearing the doubt in the other party's voice and the words Guild Master Liu, Mu Hong's face darkened and he gestured haughtily. In the past, he was the top physician in the Qianwu kingdom. No one dared to doubt his capability. But ever since Guild Master Liu's appearance, everyone had been carrying doubts at his skills, and this left him dismal. Was Guild Master Liu the only capable physician among them? Then, I'll be troubling Grandmaster Mu then. Hearing that the other party had a solution, Lin Ruotian and Ji Feng heaved a sigh of relief. UN. Not wasting any time, Mu Hong immediately flicked his wrist, and a jade bottle appeared in his hands. With a slight shake, medicinal fluid immediately flowed out and dripped on Lin Lang's exposed skin. TZZZZZZZZ. Upon contact, bubbles started to appear on the wounds, and the glaring lacerations healed at a speed visible to one's eyes. Incredible. Seeing the apparent effects, Lin Ruotian and Ji Feng's eyes lit up. As expected of a 3-star physician, his skills were indeed superb. This is a medicinal fluid that I concocted by myself. It is exceptionally effective on external injuries. Regardless of what injury it is, upon contact with it, it'll heal quickly. It's truly a miraculous medicine. Seeing the surprise on the faces of the two, physician Mu Hong nodded in satisfaction. However, halfway through his words, Lin Ruotian's face slowly turned into shock. Wait, Grandmaster Mu, look. Seeing the other party's bizarre reaction, Mu Hong immediately followed the other party's fingers and glanced at Lin Lang, and the sight before him left him dumbstruck. The wound that had just healed torn apart, and the laceration grew even larger than before. Even worse, blood flowed profusely out of the wound. Take, for example, if the wound was 2 fingers wide before, after coming into contact with the medicinal fluid, not only did it not recover, it even became 3 fingers wide and started bleeding. What's going on? He had just bragged that his medicine was a private concoction when such a matter occurred. Mu Hong's complexion immediately turned awful. He quickly poured the fluid on another region. Just like before, the regenerated flesh suddenly tore apart once more and became even more glaring. That can't be. He didn't expect such an abrupt change. With a flick of his wrist, Physician Mu Hong took out 7 to 8 different medicinal fluid and poured them into different wounds. These miraculous medicines for one's external wounds were also effective at the start, but before long, the wounds started tearing apart once more. It was just a while ago that Lin Lang's bleeding stopped and his condition stabilized, and they thought that with Physician Mu Hong's skills, Lin Lang could make a full recovery. However, not only did the latter fail to treat Lin Lang, he even caused the wounds to widen and blood started flowing profusely from them once more. With every passing second, Lin Lang's face was turning paler and paler. Grandmaster Mu, please, stop for a moment. Seeing the other party grabbing another dozen bottles once more, clearly intending to try them one by one, Lin Ruotian shuddered and hurried forward to stop him. Grandmaster Mu, I invited you here to treat my son, not to kill him. If you continue on like this, my son will probably die from excessive bleeding before you manage to find the correct medicine. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Physician Mu Hong interjected as his face darkened. Trying all of the medicinal fluids in his storage ring one by one, the frown on his face slowly deepened, and his complexion turned more and more awful. Eventually, by the time he finished experimenting with all of his medicine, Lin Lang's breathing was already extremely faint, to the point that it seemed as though he was just a step away from death's embrace. So, how is it? Lin Ruotian's lips quivered vigorously. Even though his son was severely injured, he was still in a stable condition a short while ago. Yet, under Physician Mu Hong's hands, his son's condition deteriorated by the second, to the point that it seemed as though he would die at any moment. This made Lin Ruotian extremely frustrated, but he didn't dare to lash out at this moment. If not for Guild Master Liu foiling his plans, making him subconsciously hostile toward him, he would have surely invited him over instead of Physician Mu Hong. If this previous guild master was at a loss as well, Lin Ruotian had no idea what he should do next. Based on my diagnosis, Lin Langgong's wounds aren't just normal, superficial wounds. I'm afraid that he's poisoned. After hesitating for a moment, Mu Hong slowly answered. Poisoned. Lin Ruotian was taken aback. Could the person who attacked his son be a poison master? Otherwise, normal poison should be ineffective against Xianxia realm experts. Indeed. This poison is extremely bizarre, so I wasn't able to recognize it instantly. However, there's no need for you to worry too much about it. I will use my Xianxia to expel it. Once the poison is expelled, his injuries shouldn't open up again. By then, he'll recover swiftly. Physician Mu Hong replied. After trying out numerous medicines, he finally concluded that the other party had been poisoned. Otherwise, how could these medicines, which were effective on others, have such bizarre effects on him? However, there were countless different poisons in the world. Mu Hong wasn't a poison master who specialized in the field, so there was no way he could identify the poison Lin Lang was suffering from. Thus, the only possible treatment he could conduct was to forcefully expel the poison from the other party's body. I'll be depending on Grandmaster Mu then. Lin Ruotian hurriedly nodded. UN. Replying casually, Mu Hong helped Lin Lang up and sat cross-legged behind him. Placing his palm on the other party's back, he slowly infused a surge of Xianxia into the latter's body. There was a unique method to expel the poison from another person's body. As a 3-star physician, he had learned it before and was familiar with it. His Xianxia slowly flowed through the other party's meridians, checking them inch by inch. Here it is. Before long, Mu Hong found where the poison was located, and his eyes lit up. After one was poisoned, the poison would flow through one's meridians and travel around one's body. If one wanted to expel it, one had to locate it first. Otherwise, regardless of what solutions one used, if it was targeted at the wrong spot, it would all be for naught. Lin Lang Gongzi cultivates the Lin clan's cultivation technique, so his Xianxia should be of a completely different nature from mine, making it impossible for the two to fuse together. I just have to wrap my Xianxia around the poison Xianxia and force it out of his body. After finding the precise location, Mu Hong didn't get excited. Instead, he became even warier instead. Being poisoned meant that the poison had already fused with one's Xianxia and body. To expel it, one's Xianxia had to be of a different nature from the other party first. Otherwise, if the Xianxia were to fuse together, not only would one be unable to expel the poison, it was also highly likely that the poison from the patient would travel back to the one treating him. The Lin clan's cultivation technique that Lin Lang cultivated was completely different from that physician Mu Hong cultivated. To make an analogy, it was just like oil and water. As long as he proceeded carefully, it shouldn't be a problem for him to expel the poison Xianxia out. Physician Mu Hong carefully pushed his Xianxia toward the other party's poison Xianxia, and then the two touched. Just as he was intending to expel that poison Xianxia out of Lin Lang's body, tzzz la, an explosion sounded. It was as though fire meeting with gasoline. The poison immediately seeped into Physician Mu Hong's Xianxia. What? Physician Mu Hong's eyes narrowed. Before he could react, his hands swiftly turned black. Then, the poison immediately spread upward, turning his arms black as well. This. How is this possible? Mu Hong's face turned pale. He nearly turned insane on the spot. He had seen potent poison, but he had never seen one so formidable. He had personally treated a victim of a grade 2 poison before, and logically speaking, as long as his Xianxia was immiscible with that of the patient, the poison shouldn't pose any threat to him. After all, if their Xianxia doesn't fuse together, there was no medium for the poison to afflict him. What in the world was this? Why was his Xianxia immediately poisoned, as though gasoline coming into contact with flames? Damn it! It must be because pure Xianxia is contained within this poison. That kind of Xianxia is capable of fusing with any Xianxia. A thought suddenly flashed through Mu Hong's mind, and he recalled some records on a book. Given that his Xianxia swiftly fused with the other party, transmitting the poison during the process, there was only one possibility. That was, the one who poisoned Lin Lang possessed exceptionally pure Xianxia. This allowed the poison to fuse perfectly with his Xianxia, thus transmitting the poison to him in an instant. Doomed. Mu Hong's body swayed. Not only did he fail to cure Lin Lang of his poison, he even got poisoned instead. Mu Hong was on the verge of tears. He was just thinking that he could prove to the Lin clan that he wasn't inferior to Liu Cheng by treating Lin Lang successfully, yet the situation ended up like this. What in the world was this? Flicking his wrist, Mu Hong immediately took out an antidote and sucked on it in his mouth. Just as his condition just barely alleviated, Lin Ruoqian walked over with a panicked expression and grabbed his hand. Grandmaster Mu, what's happened? Why did you? Stop. Mu Hong had just forcefully suppressed the poison aura from traveling around his body when the other party's sudden grasp interrupted his concentration. Suddenly, he lost control of his Xianxia, and the poison Xianxia immediately broke through the 2 blockages he had just created on his arms and spread across his entire body. Pu. A mouthful of blood spurted from Mu Hong's mouth. His body staggered weakly. There's something weird about his poison. Before Mu Hong could finish his words, his vision went dark and he fainted. Grandmaster Mu. Seeing a 3-star physician, as well as the previous guild master of the Physician Guild faint on the spot, Lin Ruoqian and Ji Feng were stunned. Who can tell me what just happened? Physician Mu Hong, aren't you here to treat our sons? Why did Lin Lang's injury worsen with every action you took? Not only that, your face turned pitch black, and you even fainted. To think that a physician would get poisoned in the midst of his treatment and faint. Mu Hong, didn't you just confidently declare for us to not worry? Don't worry. With this kind of standard, I would be a fool not to worry. Chapter 380, Knocking. What do we do? Not only did they fail to treat the other party, The physician even fainted. Lin Ruotian and Ji Feng stared at one another light-headed. What kind of opponent did Lin Lang and Ji Mo meet for them to land in such a state? Physician Mu Hong's medical skills are top-notch in Qianwu Kingdom. If even he is helpless toward their affliction, then no physician will be able to do anything. A moment later, Ji Feng suddenly thought of something and said, "Unless we neutralize the poison in their bodies first." Neutralize the poison in their bodies? We don't even know what kind of poison it is. How can we neutralize it? Lin Ruotian shook his head. It was no easy feat to neutralize a poison. Without knowing that poison it was and the concentration of it that one consumed, it was impossible to do so. Indeed, if we wish to treat a poison which even Grandmaster Mu is helpless toward, we will require the help of a real poison master. Ji Feng nodded. Poison master. Right, the great herb king of the Red Lotus City is currently in the capital. Hurry up and invite him over. I heard that Hall Master Liao Zun of the Poison Hall had just arrived yesterday as well. Invite him over too. Upon hearing the words Poison Master, Lin Ruotian's eyes lit up and he hurriedly issued several instructions. He had some connections with the great herb king, otherwise, it would be impossible for him to procure the poison used to kill the gold-tailed lion. Hall Master Liao Zun? Isn't the Hall Master of the Poison Hall? Clan head Ji Feng asked doubtfully. Ji Feng didn't have much contact with the Poison Hall, but as one of the most feared and unique occupations, he knew a thing or two about it. He might not remember the name of the Hall Master precisely, but he was certain that it wasn't Liao Zun. Furthermore, what in the world was the Hall Master of the Poison Hall doing at Qianwu Royal City instead of his own base? I don't know the details either, but it seems like the previous Hall Master passed away, and his student had taken his place. The reason why he's here is to send off a seemingly formidable figure. Lin Ruotian pondered for a moment before replying. He had heard the news from the mouth of the great herb king personally. It seemed like the headquarter had sent an envoy to their branch, and Hall Master Liao was here to see off the other party. Regardless of the reason, their presence is a secret. We mustn't let anyone learn of it. After explaining the situation, Lin Ruotian turned to look at Ji Feng, and a menacing glint flashed across his eyes. Clan head Ji, I only told you the truth because of the several generations of close ties between our clans. You should know, better than most, what you should and shouldn't say. Poison masters had a hostile relationship with the other occupations. If other people were to learn that the Hall Master of the Poison Hall was here, it was highly likely that unnecessary conflict might occur. Clan head Lin, don't worry. My lips are sealed. Seeing the other party's stern expression, Ji Feng's face turned grim as well and he hurriedly nodded in agreement. He had no choice but to submit. Given the Lin clan's strength, if he were to do anything excessive, the Ji clan might be history tomorrow. And the Qianwu royal family would be pleased to see such a sight. Large clans like theirs were a hindrance to the authority of the royal family. They would definitely be delighted to see them destroying one another. Not too long later, the great herb king and Hall Master Liao Zun arrived in the room. At this moment, Liao Zun already had the disposition and authority befitting that of a Hall Master. With his hands behind him and eyes that seemed to peer into the far distance, he felt like an unfathomable being. Upon seeing him, the incomparably arrogant Lin Ruotian and Ji Feng didn't dare to pull their weight at all. They hurriedly clasped their fists and greeted him. Lin Ruotian and Ji Feng pay respect to Hall Master Liao. Different from the other occupations, poison masters tended to have weird quirks in their character. If one were to offend a poison master, he could very well poison one without one noticing, and one would die with utmost grievance. UN. Seeing the respectful attitude of the two, Liao Zun nodded his head in satisfaction. Then, glancing at the duo, he asked, "May I know what business does Clan Head Lin have to invite me over so urgently?" "It's like this." Lin Ruotian immediately replied. "My unworthy son is afflicted with lethal poison, and even physician Mu Hong is helpless before it. Thus, I invited you over in hopes that you could save him." Afflicted with lethal poison. Liao Zun glanced at the trio lying on the ground, including physician Mu Hong, impassively and replied, "They're indeed poisoned. However, why should I help you? What business of it is mine that your son got poisoned?" Other people might be eager to suck up to your Lin clan, but I'm not interested in it at all. This. Seeing the nonchalance on the other party's face, Lin Ruotian's face flushed. He felt so stifled that he could puke blood at this moment. The Lin clan was the #1 clan in Qianwu Kingdom, and all along, he had been the one to crush others with his authority and demanding for privileges from others. When was anyone able to speak to him like that? However, before this dangerous man, he didn't dare to act up at all. The other party was indeed weaker than him, but poison masters tended to have numerous bizarre means up their sleeves, and they couldn't be measured simply by their cultivation. There were plenty of weak people who were capable of killing experts stronger than them. Not only was this Liao Zun the hall master of the poison hall, he was also a Xianxia realm pinnacle expert as well. It was in Lin Ruotian's best interest not to offend the other party. Otherwise, if the other party were to fly into a rage, he might just poison everyone in the residence. Thinking of this, no matter how infuriated Lin Ruotian was, he could only suppress his rage down. With a flick of his wrist, a jade bottle appeared in his grasp. This is the Golden Origin Pill, a Grade 3 intermediate pill. This is forged by Grandmaster Tai Yu of Shenyuan Kingdom, and it has reached the level of perfection. It'll definitely help your cultivation to advance upon consumption, and you might even step into the level of a half Zhizuan. The attribute of the Golden Origin Pill was metal, and metal had a sharp nature. The pill carried the effect of breaking through the bottlenecks one faced in one's cultivation. Furthermore, at the level of perfection, the value of this pill was immense, rivaling that of a spirit stone. It wasn't an easy decision for Lin Ruotian to take this out. Golden Origin Pill. Without even looking at it, Liao Zun waved his hands in disdain and said, "Pills are useless to poison masters. Don't even bother taking such stuff out, you'll embarrass yourself." Poison masters cultivated poison attribute cultivation techniques, and they consumed poisonous substances to augment their cultivation. Pills didn't have much of a use to them. This. Not expecting that the other party would treat the item he had to undergo a mental turmoil to take out with disdain, Lin Ruotian's face immediately reddened in embarrassment. At this moment, he was completely lost, not knowing what else he could offer the other party. "All right, how about this? I'll state my terms, and as long as you can accomplish it, not only will I help you resolve your son's poison, I can even kill someone for you." Liao Zun glanced at Lin Ruotian and said, "Feel free to speak." Seeing that the situation wasn't completely hopeless, a spark of hope appeared in Lin Ruotian's eyes. "Simple. I heard that your Lin clan is extremely influential in the kingdom. Thus, I hope that you can help to construct a trading hub for poison masters in the capital." Liao Zun revealed his motive. If not for this, he would never have come here. Poison masters couldn't just stay in the poison hall for their entire life. They also had to come out and trade with others. If a trading hub could be built here, it would mean that the identity of poison masters would be officially recognized. If so, they could avoid many troubles, and there would be no need for them to intentionally hide from public view. This. Lin Ruotian hesitated for a moment. "I believe that you should know that even though our Lin clan possess immense authority in Qianwu Kingdom, we aren't the true ruler of the country. I'm afraid that we might incur the displeasure of the guilds if we were to build a trading hub here all of the sudden." "Don't beat around the bush. The Great Herb King has already told me what you're up to. Didn't you poison the gold-tailed lion so that you can replace the monarchy? Don't worry. As long as you agree to my request, we have a poison that can deal with that Zhizuan realm guardian beast." Liao Zun replied impassively. "You have a poison that can deal with Zhizuan realm savage beasts?" Lin Ruotian's eyes lit up. The sudden breakthrough of the gold-tailed lion had forced him to rein him in ambitions. The promise of Hall Master Liao had caused his ambitions to emerge once more. Honestly speaking, even without opening up a trading hub, poison masters were still trading in public. In truth, the Red Lotus City was already the largest trading hub for poison masters. In a sense, opening a trading hub in the capital wouldn't change anything, yet at the same time, he could pull an expert to his side. Why should he turn down such a beneficial deal? Thus, Lin Ruotian nodded, and just as he was about to speak, a guard suddenly rushed in. "Clan head, this is bad." Even before reaching the room, the guard's voice had already sounded. What's wrong? Interrupted. Lin Ruotian was displeased. The third elder, he. The lips of the guard who came in quivered violently. What's wrong? Did he catch the culprit? What's there to panic about if the culprit has been caught? Lin Ruotian asked. Given that the third elder had gone out personally to apprehend the culprit, it was likely that the culprit had already been killed by now. That's not it. Someone has sent the third elder back. He is severely wounded, and is currently unconscious. Furthermore what? Someone has kicked his lower body, and is already completely inept. The guard was on the verge of tears. Kicked his lower body. Lin Ruotian was stunned for a moment before frenzy spread across his entire face. Who is it? Who is the one who dares to assault a member of our Lin clan? The heck? The Lin clan had always been a dominant power in the capital, an influence that no one dared to provoke. What in the world was going on today? First, his son was pummeled by someone and thrown into the fecal drain. Then, the third elder, who had gone on to investigate the matter, was kicked infertile. When did the Lin clan become such easy targets to bully? If they were to remain motionless before such clear provocation, how could the Lin clan establish its might in Qianwu Kingdom? It's the royal palace who sent them back here. It's said that the culprit who assaulted the young master had escaped to the royal palace, but the third elder still managed to track him down through the seeking mouse. Eventually, a fight occurred, and the third elder has been reduced to such a state from a kick by his opponent. As for the other guards, we don't know whether they're still alive or not. The guard revealed everything that he knew about the matter. The one who attacked the third elder seemed to be the new guild leader of the Physician Guild, Liu Cheng, and the one who attempted to assassinate young master is his student. The Lin clan had spies in Qianwu Kingdom, so it wasn't difficult for them to get their hands on this news. Liu Cheng? Damn it! To dare to injure my son and the third elder, he's disregarding the authority of our Lin clan. I swear that I will kill him. After clarifying the entire issue, Lin Ruotian howled frenziedly. Where did this fellow come from? Why did he keep hindering the Lin clan? Was he addicted to it? We are already very kind to overlook the matter of you curing the gold-tailed lion and hindering our ploy. Yet, you still dare to send your student to assassinate my son, even going to the extent of injuring the third elder yourself. You are just an honorary guild master. Did you think that you are some big shot? Men, capture Liu Cheng and bring him to me. If I don't kill him, I won't be able to quell the anger boiling in me. Feeling so stifled that he could spurt blood, Lin Ruotian gestured grandly, and the aura of a conqueror slowly exuded from him. Who cares that you are some mere guild master or genius? I'll kill those who dare to offend me. Even if the Physician Guild headquarters were to investigate this issue in the future, I would stand on the side of reason. Before he could finish issuing his instructions, another guard ran over anxiously and reported, "Clan head, this is bad. That Guild Master Liu and his student are already at our door, saying that they'll settle the score with our Lin clan today and return justice to the world. They demand us to apologize." Apologize? He injured our men, and he still wants us to apologize. With eyes turning crimson, the final string of Lin Ruotian's sanity snapped. Thank you for listening to PandaAudioBooks. If you love what you hear and want to support my work, check out the PayPal link in the description. Every bit helps. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notifications bell to stay updated with all our latest audiobook chapters. We'll see you in the next one.